Good evening, Warband. Welcome to Tech Talk Tuesday, number 9, Just Chatting. We've got OK Lord here, as usual.
Hello.
And yeah, so let's see who we got in chat right now. We've got Conal McCracken, Forno Raisin, Random Gen Z Bastards, Sir Yeetus, and Pixels going their own way. Welcome. Yeah. So, we'll just hop right into it right here. Even Lozano, welcome. So, yes, AI generated woman successfully tricks Reddit users into paying for her nudes.
About time. Remember the last conversation we had like a month ago where I said like I don't think this was in our video, but that porn is a really good way. Anything sexual is a good way to increase technology and innovation.
Well, you know what? Actually, I think that we could probably say they're. Actually, you familiar with the phrase "all's fair in love and war"?
I'll be honest, no.
Oh, I don't know. I've heard that quite a few times. Like, all's fair in love and war. Well, that's the thing. Sex and war. Those are the two biggest drivers of technology.
I would agree, especially war. Of all the things, war is number one.
Well, and let's be honest, like, war, primarily it's about security. Like, in a roundabout way. Like, security of resources. Really, that's it. Security of resources. If humans didn't need resources, we probably wouldn't have war, period.
Maybe. I think overall there will be way less wars. There's always going to be that bastard's like, no, I want to be the biggest, baddest DACA. Orc mentality.
I mean, yeah, they could.
But it'd be a lot less wars. I would
Yeah,
definitely agree
that's the
on
thing
that.
about that. Like, you'd have a hard time convincing a whole bunch of people to do something.
Yeah, I would agree. Basically, the DACAs will be fighting the other DACAs.
Yeah. And then on the other hand, sex, like, I'm pretty sure that most modern technology has been done in pursuit of sex in one way or another.
I mean, look at the internet. There's a great
Yeah.
meme about
The
the
in,
internet is
the
made for porn.
the internet is for
That's a great
porn. Yeah,
video.
that's a classic one. But let's look at basically all modern housekeeping stuff.
That
Like,
would be actually that would be a downside, but for Americans it wouldn't matter.
here's the thing: like, how many guys probably came home, and their wife was like, "Oh, honey, I was doing the laundry for 10 hours today because I had to do it by hand and rub it on rocks and whatnot. I'm too tired." And the man's like, "This needs to be fixed now."
Also, why the fuck is my chicken cold? Sorry, I had to, drag that one in.
No, exactly, but like, so much of modern household convenience is men inventing stuff for the convenience of women. So,
Which is a big fucking mistake because when you don't give women things to do, from my personal experience, they drive you freaking crazy.
they
Even my
drive
own
them.
mother.
I see it too. They drive themselves crazy when they don't have anything to do all day.
Yeah, I always find something for them. Oh, you're complaining about something? Here, let me give you something to do. But I don't want to do it now. Well, too bad. And then they're happy.
Yeah. But let's jump into the article proper here before we go on our usual hour-long side tangents.
Yeah, let's let's dive into this.
And right away, we can see some shade being thrown, but let's go. So, just recently, some users on Reddit, mostly lonely dudes, were duped into paying for nude photographs by a considerably alluring woman they all thought to be real. But in fact, the gorgeous female that they'd all been sweating over was nothing other than an AI generated human.
know about you, but I really don't think it's mostly lonely dudes. And the reason why I say that is because in at least in my side in the tech field, a lot of them are married or have like loved ones, and yet there's like just all these
Uh,
efots and Twitch streamers. They just flash money. It's
well,
weird.
isn't it, you're seriously going to tell me that married dudes aren't lonely?
You know what? You checkmate. You checkmate right there. God damn it. I assume and you assume, but you assume better than me. Checkmate.
No. Calling yourself Claudia, because like how I'm pronouncing numbers, the account on Reddit went about posting a number of photographs on select mature subreddit forums. One was a headshot that revealed her jet black hair and sharp Slavic like features. Another framed her shapely body from the front, wearing a brassiere above a short skirt, overlaying garters and stockings, while a third showed her turned away from the camera and posing provocatively in lingerie.
I have to say, they messed up with the butt.
I'm more actually more looking at like the bra strap here. Like, one of them's missing.
Yeah, you're right. It is missing, but I'm just looking at the butt. I'm like, I'm not entertained with that butt.
No, like it's kind of hard to tell where the butt begins and the hip, like the separation between the butt and the hip.
It's a blob. The top is like, okay. The bottom is just a blob.
Yeah, but, like I'll be honest, like if I pulled this out of AI generation, I would not consider this good enough to post. I'd still iterate a few more times.
But it made money, so it
Well,
works.
well, that just means that I have higher standards than the people who made this. So theoretically, I should be able to make even better and get even more money and be more convincing, which I'll have to because now they're aware of this.
I
Like
mean, but
so,
you do a pretty good job. Start capitalizing. Like, get yourself some fake social media accounts, buy them from Chinese people, and a shit ton of OnlyFans. You'll be the bot.
it just takes time. That's all. It's really just a matter of like time management. I only get like 6 free hours a night to do anything. I'm
Yeah,
usually
and I
busy.
agree with Spider in chat. Yeah, the fabric also gives it away. It seems to always struggle with the fabric as
Well,
well.
well, it's pulling from many different samples and trying to compile it all together. Like, and all the different lighting on the fabric too. I
Also,
mean,
sometimes it's too see-through, where it struggles to know when it should be see-through or not, based on
yeah,
lighting, probably. Like,
yeah,
if you look at the
there's,
top one, it's even more obvious. So scroll up, and you see
yeah.
where on the right side where you see her face, her
Mm,
lighting for her like brows looks really weird. You can't tell what's the hair or her skin or the actual clothing. And if you look on the
yeah,
right side, it's even harder. It's like, what in the hell's going on there?
yeah. The funny thing is, looking at that, I'm pretty sure we'll get into the article a bit more before I go into that. But so, apparently these photos were enough to send some users reeling over her charm, with several immediately offering her cash money for more explicit content. In other words, they'd pay up if she'd send nudes. One user even asked Claudia out on a date and boasted that he earned a six-figure salary. Okay, if it's seriously that easy, then yeah, I'm probably gonna have to start generating stuff.
Yeah, you gotta do it. Like, look at this beta right here. Like, 6 figures boasting it. Like, no, the tip. Never share your salary to any woman, even if you're married.
Well, yeah. Okay, look, if these guys understood the proper boundaries to set with women, they probably wouldn't be cruising these subreddits to begin with.
Yeah, I'm sorry, Colonel. That is not a 6-6 online chat. No, that's not. Unless you're referring to the AI, then
That's
yes,
the
the
thing.
AI
Well,
is
that's the thing.
six.
He's only got one of the sixes. Like, he only qualified himself with one of the three sixes. And well, let's be honest, 666 Devil Chad isn't even enough anymore. You got to have like 888 Chad at this point.
Wait, what the hell? 888.
It's exactly what it sounds like.
But you
Yeah,
know what? Yeah.
we skipped 777 jackpot Chad and went straight for 888.
God damn, why did they have to ruin it? It's perfect. What's
Well, it
next? 12,
was.
12, 12?
Well, when they start demanding a 12-foot tall dude with a 12-figure income and 12 inches down below, sure. But now that we got women demanding an 8-figure income, it's like, all right, we're up to 888 Chad now.
Get understand, it's inflation. No one understands.
666 Chad in this economy?
Inflation.
Absolutely. In any case, this mostly drives home the point about how, one, AI generated images have become incredibly convincing. Two, lonely and horny people are more than willing to part with money to satisfy their urges. The women. Men. Lonely and horny men. Like, a lonely and horny woman just needs to lower her standards if she wants to get laid.
Yeah, and same thing for some women too. You know what I'm referring to, right?
Mm, no, elaborate, please.
All right, so some women have dicks.
Oh, yes. No, God.
I'm sorry, I had to push that one in.
No, I'm sorry, but you're giving me. Just
I'm sorry.
no, you don't get it. Like they're really pushing this stuff. Like
Oh yeah,
I
no, I see it in my workplace all the time, and I got some really shocking statistics from my workplace.
oh,
Very
no,
shocking.
no. It's like while doing my usual research and whatnot, like it used to be that the banner ads popping up were like BBWs and stuff and like manic bait. No, now it's just like surprise penis.
Surprise.
It's like wow, really? Like this is what you're going for these guys. Like
I mean,
they're like
it's
let's
going to be like that.
no, like, they're in on it because like I'm not the target market for this kind of stuff. You think that banner ads would be selectively targeting the market, but it's like no, they're trying to push this shit now.
Oh, you don't want to even. Actually, I should mention because it's kind of funny. They think I'm a lesbian that has basically given birth for the last 10 years. I get nothing but diaper advertisement, bottles, cribs, walkie-talkies, and I'm like, why? I have not shopped or even looked at any of this stuff. And for 10 years, Google still thinks I'm a lesbian with potential kids like forever. It's the strangest thing ever in the AdSense pool.
Huh?
To this day, I still don't know why. The only
Like
thing I can assume is that a long, long time ago, when I first made my Google account, I did it with my ex, who was a lesbian. Yeah, was. And that's probably why he thinks I'm a lesbian constantly giving birth, because she had a shit ton of abortions. That's the only thing I can think of.
yeah,
And Google's
honestly,
always tracking her stuff and not my
well,
stuff because I
well, that's
keep
the,
mine on protected.
well, no, that would make sense because if Google determined that you were in a relationship with her, then it would determine that a like if a lesbian's in a relationship, it must be with a woman clearly, and b if there's that many abortions, then someone's giving someone's having babies. So
Well, I got a woke score. It must be pretty high, that's all I gotta say.
honestly, yeah. And what's the thing? Like you'd score highly with both the left and the right because a like you're a lesbian, so that's going to get you pretty high up in the woke, and b you've given a lot of birth, so the Republicans are going to be down for it.
You know what? Maybe I am the perfect spy. I can charisma myself in both directions. I don't like neither of them.
Probably the best place to be these days. But Let's continue. So, unsurprisingly, some other users on these subreddits were sharp enough to catch on, with some of them commenting on how unnatural the photos seemed to be through their screens. But as you'd expect, some of the more desperate Redditors refused to heed the signs, and it all eventually led Claudia to earning around $100 US in exchange for more intimate content before she was called out for being an absolute fake.
But how
Just 100?
much? But wait, no, how much was each pick? Was it like five, a dollar, 50 cents? Because I want to know how many times there was an exchange.
I mean, that's the thing. Like, I hear $100. I kind of expected that number to be higher.
But the thing is, was like this would be impressive. Imagine it was $100 based on like a dollar each or 50 cents. You
What's the
just
thing?
have to price it right.
God, but seriously, has Hoflation gotten so bad that they're sending nudes for $1?
I have no clue. I'm never in the market for that.
I
We have
mean,
to look. I hope there's no Buddhas here giving any of these hoes money, but we gotta find someone who does though from like a different field or over here.
I'm gonna have to do market research. God damn it! Not the kind of market research I want to do, but
I mean,
but
$5 seems to be the standard. I mean, that's how much it is to see everyone's nudes and OnlyFans. I think.
uh, yeah, probably. Like if you just want the generic content for everyone. But anyway, while many praise Claudia for being gorgeous, absolutely perfect, and fit to be a trophy wife, some others demanded that the girl show off her hands, a reasonable demand considering how AI image generators have absolutely struggled to draw human hands accurately. It's gotten better, and on that note, I will remember make sure to have some of the images with well generated hands. Like, thank you, article, for making it easier to pull another one. But
I'm surprised it didn't mention the eyes. Like to me, the eyes are the most obvious.
but that's but that's between you and me who've actually looked at this for a while and discussed it in depth. Hands are more the meme AI can't draw hands stuff. Like that's all that
True, and
people outside of this sphere of knowledge will understand. Ha! AI can't draw hands. Show me your hands.
they gotta act like an NPC. They haven't been told so, right? So that makes sense.
They're on Reddit.
Oh, I'm so sorry. You can't use that word. It's flagged now. NP cat.
Nah, I
Oh,
just
well, I
mean
can find a way.
like let's be honest, the kind of people like it's one thing to go on Reddit for resources or information because there's usually something good there. But if you're the kind of person who's actively engaging on Reddit, trying to build up karma and deep and sliding into AI girls' DMs, you're probably an NPC.
Yeah. Oh, you know what? That's not a bad idea. I see in the chat. You know, hands, tails, horns, wings. Yeah, why not make it interesting? Say it's cosplay. And see if anyone figures that out. Oh, look at my cosplay. I'm a bunny.
Difficult to do with specific models. I mean, that would be what I would ask. Is like I'd ask for like a particularly specific pose or some sort of specific accessory or whatnot because that's much harder to pull off consistently. Heck, even asking the AI to show off the same outfit from two different angles, very difficult to do.
Oh, if it's difficult, that means animation is still gonna be a long way to go, except for anime.
Um,
Like,
well, on that note, I do have a video on animation, so we might get into that actually. But as it turned out, Claudia happened to be the creation of two computer science students in an effort to realize their dream girl. But after bringing her to life, the two students then decided to see just how well Claudia could be used to fool other, less eagle eyed internet users. The two revealed that Claudia was created by Stable Diffusion, an AI platform similar to Midjourney that sets itself apart by being able to create wildly realistic and photo like images. That's not all Stable Diffusion does to set it apart, but I mean, this is an article on the internet. I can't exactly expect thorough research.
I mean, look at this one. This one is like the background, the clothes. Like, look how perfect that shirt is and it's circular. Like in
No,
real life, it will like sag a
honestly,
little bit.
it's the hair. Like the hair is what
Oh,
gives it
I
away.
it looks like a wig,
It does.
but not the good kind. Like
But that's the thing. But like, you could kind of accept a wig for cosplay, but like, nah, that is like cheap, cheap wig.
yeah, I would agree. I mean, look at the fabric. It just looks weird. The hair looks weird. This one
Yeah.
is not. What are you doing, Gray? Go make some money. Like if this is making $100, you can easily make 1,000.
Honestly, you're probably right. It's just, again, it's the time spent.
Like I
Like,
love how they're trying to say these are two students with academic excellency. No, they're just two dudes. They're just playing around with it. That's it.
yeah. But by simply using text prompts, the duo were able to generate several sensual photos of Claudia, then combine them with AI-generated text pieces about her sexual fantasies and escapes. You needed AI for that?
I guess so.
I,
Um,
I mean,
if you're a furry, I can understand. I
no,
guess.
but like, you need. Wait, escapes? Do they mean escapades? Again, article on the
Oh no.
internet. But no, this is where I get out like the big angry red marker. These were then uploaded to various subreddit forums where the concept and imagery of Claudia spread like fire among the more lust-filled users out there. Sadly, though, stories like the one of Claudia aren't really novel, and it's been reported that the trend of using AI image generators for pornographic material has become increasingly widespread. For example, taking a tour of some of the more smut-filled NSFW subreddits will show you that Stable Diffusion has become quite a heavily utilized tool in the creation of digital risque photos with extremely lifelike quality. And on a more sickening note, there have also been instances of some users creating indecent content featuring children or childlike individuals and sharing them with other like-minded degenerates.
I mean, the FBI have the biggest one. I mean, they literally have a honey pot
Yeah,
for
no,
that.
okay, now here's the thing. What would you rather have? Someone with a hard drive full of AI generated children or someone with a hard drive full of actual children?
Oh, of course, it's generated. Like, end of the day, I don't care if someone likes the generated stuff. Just don't tell me and never get near the kids. That's it.
Yeah,
Like,
because
I understand it's a sickness. You know,
yeah, like that's the thing is
I
like
feel bad for you. Just live somewhere else.
I don't approve of it and I don't want these people to have this, but if they're going to exist anyway, at the very least it's not actual kids.
I mean, I know it's hard to stomach, and as someone who has actually worked with kids when they have these type of like unfortunate situations, it is best that these predators have a way to release it that doesn't affect actual kids. I know
Yeah.
that sounds horrible, but it works in Japan. They
Yeah.
did research on that.
Yeah. That's the thing. Like at the end of the day, I give more of a shit about whether or not there's actual victims than whether or not the God, what would be the word? I guess pervert. Probably the easiest one. Like whether or not the perverts exist, whatever. But
Give them something.
if they can get something without having to actually create a victim, okay.
I mean, end of the day, that's how most victims become predators. Like that's something that TFM said, and I researched it, and I remember from my old work that usually a lot of predators themselves were victims. And it makes sense when you think about it. Who gets more help, men or females, when it comes
Well,
to being a victim to being these goddamn degenerates?
obviously females. So
Yeah, and now we're seeing a whole bunch of females in schools.
yeah. Whereas yeah, nowadays it's basically like male victims have become a freaking institution unto itself in terms of the generation of them. So yeah,
That's a really bad
but
cycle.
anyway, wrap this up. So while we all know how powerful and useful AI technology can be for work, studying, and creativity, we should also be aware of how such platforms can be used for far less noble purposes, just like mentioned above. This is just straight up AI slander. Like they didn't need to throw the kid thing in at all. They just did that to leave a sour taste in viewers' mouths. So
I'm
this
just
is just
surprised they put it so down low. Usually they put it in the headline.
well, no, that's the thing. The headline is to draw in the viewers, and then they're just trying to slander the whole thing. Meanwhile, like seriously, Mashable, like again, this is basically a feminist article. Like I read this, I assume that Mashable is feminist, and given that it's Southeast Asia, I'm willing to bet it's Korean. Let's see,
Oh
can I?
god, those Korean women are extreme feminists.
Yeah, REV Media Group. Just gonna check that real quick. Uh, Malaysia, huh? Hmm. English, Malay, Chinese. Hmm.
Oh god, I see IGN.
IGN, yeah. So, yeah, not particularly surprising. So, all right, got that segment anyway. All right, so yeah, so yeah, money making.
Gray,
This
what are you
is.
doing? Like end the stream and go make yourself like $10,000 or $20,000 in a day.
I mean, like, I'm probably gonna have to at this rate. Like,
It's just too sweet. People are just not care. It just
but
shocks me how many people spend money on women online when it's for free.
but
I
here's
don't
the
understand it.
but this is just stage one because here's the do you know what stage two is?
AI generated live, like they actually moving and talking to you.
No. Stage one. Well, I mean that's definitely a further stage, but that's a higher number than stage two.
I guess
Stage
voice, right?
no, stage two. I've already got voice nailed down. No. Stage two is where they stop caring whether or not it's AI.
Oh, hmm.
Because I mean, what do they want at the end of the day? Like they want a fantasy that they can get their rocks off to.
Yeah, and if you think of it like this, Claudia will never age.
Yeah.
I guess
Thing.
that's one way to figure out if it's AI on a glance. If it looks too perfect, all right, let me look at this.
Well, but let's be honest. With filters, who could tell?
Oh, I always assume. Well, maybe just my perspective. If there's a filter, I ignore it. I'm like, I don't give a fuck. No.
Yeah, but you have standards.
Is it really that bad? Like, are guys just losing their? It's because they don't have fathers. Like my father taught me to have fucking standards,
Okay,
both of
no,
them.
dude. Yes, like I'll just say straight up. Yes, it is definitely.
Soon AI will be highly
Oh,
regulated
we got
on
a super
women
chat.
demand, so
I
enjoy
don't know
while
what
you can.
currency that is
Also,
though.
I will tag
PLN.
you on Discord once I finish Strag Wars EP.1. No AI.
Ooh. AI regulated on women's demands. Okay. Guess what? My shit's offline. They could literally strip all AI stuff off the internet. They physically cannot stop me from generating more AI images with the stuff that's native on my computer. Like they might be able to like stymie development, but and like maybe make open source sites take it down, maybe, but that's it. The genie's out of the bottle.
You can't stop innovation, especially when it involves porn.
Yeah. Like what are they gonna do? Say, well, this could be used to create this kind of stuff. Like what? Like, look, if women had that kind of power, then they probably would have attacked the creative industry for being able to draw women.
Look, women want to have their cake, eat it too, and fuck it at the same time. All three in one. Like, that's what they want. I mean, I would agree what you're saying, Pixel going their own way. It's just the downside is it doesn't matter if you did it or not. The government or whatever agency is gonna, let's just say they're gonna add their own evidence against you. It's happening everywhere. It's one of those things where it's like, what's the point? You're better off just protecting yourself and somehow having evidence that they added evidence.
Yes, will women complain about AI? Women are already complaining about AI. Like,
Come on, Yidis, you know that AI is gonna outbeat. Come on, it's a waifu. How can you beat a waifu with today's women?
yeah. Okay, apparently this is the writer of that article too.
Oh, you no, the face says it all.
Yeah. Yeah. That's yep. Yep. I mean, it's like you look at this and it's like, huh. I wonder why Southeast Asian women uh, prefer, foreign men. It's like, huh. Well, if this is what they have to deal with for the locals, it's entirely understandable.
Yeah, just looking at him makes me wanna puke a little bit.
Okay. For no reason, could it make Mr. Incredible's wife having a pillow fight? The more specific you get, the harder it gets. Could it be done? Well, maybe, since Mrs. Incredible probably has a good image database out there. Pillow fight, perhaps. Like, the more specific things you want, the tougher it gets. You just complained to lawmakers. There's already complaints to lawmakers.
Literally, the lawmaker bot is getting sued.
Yeah.
Like, AI is a great innovation. There's so many pros and cons to it, but there's way more pros than cons. Like, it is very scary in my opinion, as I do believe and ideally that technology should be slowed down so we can acclimate to it, but that's what makes someone a communist, living in ideals. In real life, it will never work.
That's the thing. I mean, I definitely see the point, but
Well, you
the thing
know that the
is,
second you restrict AI, there's gonna be some fucker that's going to abuse it. That's the only reason why governments want to restrict AI for themselves.
that's the thing. Like, the governments are absolutely using AI for their own purposes these days. There's no question of that.
Yeah, and it's really too obvious, really. I mean, especially Asia. Like, holy moly, Asia is going to destroy our technology with the innovation they have right now with AI. Because we keep like regressing. It's like, oh no, it's racist, sexism, or whatever with the AI. It's like, look, AI looks at statistics and whatever is considered, logical. It's not
But
looking at cause and effect. It's looking at what it's in its data set that is statistically correct, usually.
well, and that yeah, spider specter. That is true. Government regulates what they want to monopolize through contracts with specific companies. That's why Adobe is trying to get in on AI image generation. That's why Microsoft's Bing is trying to lock in with the chatbots. The problem is these companies suck.
Super
That's
woke.
like that's the big no, but here's that's the key thing. It's the most frustrating thing. It's what prevents this from working is because these companies get in good with the government and then they no longer need to compete in a capitalist society, which is, modern day small scale warfare is between companies on the financial front. But as soon as you have the protection of the government, you're too big to fail. You no longer need to innovate. You
Like,
don't
our
need.
current structure is so weird. It's a mix of fascism and socialism. That's the best way to describe the American system.
Well, but the problem is, fascism and socialism are not mutually exclusive. Fascism is inherently a part of socialism because you need to be able to control like a good chunk of the economy to enact socialism.
That's true. Like, you look at China, and I always say this: China and America are so similar; they might as well be the same thing. And with the new Restrict Act, wow, we
I think,
are going to become worse than China in the next few years, and that's
yeah.
saying something.
The thing is, like, China's just very mask off because they know their people will take the abuse.
At least we have pew pews. That's the only thing here in America. I don't know about in Canada. I think they're trying to get rid of everything there in Canada with
Well,
pew
no,
pews.
they're trying, but I believe that Canada's like number two. We're, at the very least, we're in like the top 3 or 5 of the world. But I think that we're number 2 for pew pews.
Oh, thank God. Keep that. That's the only thing that's preventing your government just steamrolling you.
Well, no, nowadays it's funny because apparently Trudeau threw a little rage hissy fit about how a cornerstone of Canadian culture is being attacked. Why? Because Elon Musk officially labeled CBC as state funded media, which it is. Like,
Also, that reminds me, he says some really stupid things lately. Like, I mean, sure, he
lately,
always. What has he said anymore? Like, the dude talks so much. How I can't keep up. The one I'm
no,
referring to is when he said that government regulation should be applied on AI, and that I understand. But do you trust your government? I don't.
no, but the majority voting base does. So that's
You
all that
mean
matters.
the XX?
Yeah, yeah, the double X's and the XYs that want to be double X's.
Understood.
And the XYs that worship the double X's. So, you know, it's probably a good 70% of the population.
Yep. It's not like they go to war, die, have higher suicide rates, etc., early grave. Yeah. And wait, what happened in New Mexico? For no reason, saying something about New Mexico.
Yeah,
I have no
hear about the
clue.
guy in New Mexico? You got to be a little more specific because probably not.
Like, there's so much stuff going on nowadays in the same region. You have to be Pacific, unfortunately.
Yeah, there is chaos breaking out all the bloody time everywhere. So, like, let's be honest. If the body's cold, the news is old.
Yep, that seems about right.
Did
Like,
not intend for that to rhyme, but it just kind of came out that way.
yeah, but it's true, and it's a good rhyme. He should be Dr. Seuss, but for morbid things.
Dr. Seuss had some pretty morbid stuff too. Just wasn't his more popular work.
Yeah, I agree, Sirius. War is pretty much a waste of time. Like, there was a time where war meant something, I guess, like in the medieval times. Today, no, because at least in medieval times, you get some land, usually.
Well, look,
I mean, you just get a forever PTSD.
yeah, no, like back in the day, war was how you really, really got to climb your way up in society. Like you could be like a peasant for multiple generations, but you know, you get one successful battle, congratulations. Now you have a looted like sword. Maybe you get a couple pieces of armor. Hey, maybe you
Maybe even
actually
land. A few horses. Holy shit, a few horses is worth land.
okay, like a few horses. Okay, Mr. Moneybags right here thinking that you're gonna get a few horses.
Hey, man, greed is good.
I mean, sure, like I mean, if you got a freaking breeding pair of horses and had the land to sustain them, sure, but like armor and whatnot, like you pass that down generation to generation. But if you distinguished yourself, you might get something better, a title. Like you might actually be distinguished enough to be actually granted into the upper echelons of society.
Yeah, no, today, if you do that, they cut off your Johnny.
Yeah, well, that's
Oh, I know what Raisin's talking about now. I think Chronic was talking about that, where apparently it was
oh,
yeah,
yeah,
the SWAT,
that one.
wrong SWAT.
Yeah, yeah. No, they went to the house across the street instead. Yeah,
I mean, that happens a lot, by the way. And also, the SWAT team screwed up big time. Not only because of the wrong address, but they're supposed to announce themselves. They probably didn't announce themselves.
well, that's the thing. Even if they do announce themselves, it's the crack, like, middle of the night. A bunch of guys come to your door saying like SWAT open up. Yeah, like, and you're in a bad neighborhood. Like,
Yeah, you're pretty much screwed. Like, I'm very, very, like, privileged, I guess. You go to your panic room.
yeah, no. Chronic actually had it. Like, I think Chronic had the best solution, where it's like first thing you do is you call your local PD and say there's a bunch of armed men outside your house.
Yeah, no, I would agree. Like, for example, what I used to do and when I lived in South Africa is we go into the panic room. The panic room is made of fucking steel, air holes everywhere, and it has a grenade hole.
Yeah, like this is like a shitty neighborhood in the United States.
And I
There,
know people don't have 20 grand for that. Like, it costs 20 to 50 grand to get a good panic room, especially if you want a grenade.
yeah, no, you're. I think your best bet's calling the local PD at that point.
Yeah. South Africa ain't coming unless you get the private police.
Probably not that long before that happens.
I mean, we're already there. We're already there. People are already getting their own private security, just like in South Africa. This country, America, that is. I don't know about Canada. It's slowly becoming like South Africa. Like, you need to get money. You need to find your own private police force, because the cops are gonna stop coming. And even if the cops are coming, do you really want the cops?
Yeah, that's the thing. Like, no, like, you don't want the cops because if the cops are coming, they're just going to clean up the mess. Like, actually, I heard this one story from a guy I work with. So apparently, this dude was breaking into his vehicle. So he goes out and let's see. Let's just say that wrestling fans would probably have labeled it as a hardcore experience. Apparently,
That's when you get a pew pew or a stabby stabby.
uh, yeah, well, but that's the thing. There's also this weird thing with. I mean, I call them older generations, but they're not. Some of them they're not that much older than me, but where they think like, oh, you just get physical with a dude and teach him a lesson. It's like,
I'd
why?
say in the past, sure.
This
But
isn't the '80s, guys.
oh, I wasn't thinking the 80s. I think about the freaking 40s and 50s where it's like, put them up. Put them up. No, we're in a time of, I'm going to murder you.
Like, that's the thing. This, like, they got this idea that like you go out and like meet behind the bleachers or whatever and get all physical. It's like, no, guys. This is why a lot of you all have assault charges that you're fighting and you're out on bail.
Or you're dead.
Well, I mean, not these guys I know, obviously, but no, the
No,
lot
no,
of
you
them.
never know. Like, you don't mess with someone crazy. Even if you think they're weaker than you have no clue what they have. Like, they can stab you with HIV. Like, that's a serious thing that can happen. Like, when it's a druggie, I assume the druggie has all kinds of, like, rabies.
Yeah. No. Anyway, so apparently, so while this guy is introducing face to a hubcap, the neighbor sees and calls the cops, and the cops like show up, like just as my coworker's kind of done it. It's like, fuck, because now he's got to deal with fighting the fucking assault charges, dealing with the bail, and all that kind of shit. Now, meanwhile, what do you think the response time is? And the cops say like, oh well, next time you should just call the cops.
Oh
don't
yeah,
go
wait
out and
20
handle
minutes
it.
later,
Okay,
they will
no,
literally
no.
come.
You think that the response time is 20 minutes for a non-violent B&E?
Well, I
Guess,
don't know where it's
guess,
located.
Central Ontario, Canada. Guess what
I'll
the
say 20
response time
minutes
is.
in a major city.
Try 24 hours.
Oh, that's too good.
If someone
Like,
isn't in
ugh.
danger of being Minecrafted, no.
No,
The
even
cops
then,
the,
like
the
if
cops
it's
do not.
Minecraft, they're not coming until someone dies.
And sorry, no, sorry. Like when I no, I'm not talking like self Minecrafting, just Minecrafting. Period.
Yeah, no, I'm saying like from my
Yeah.
personal experience in America, and I live in the real hood, the projects. Like every day, there's some shit going down somewhere, and you got to make sure you close the lights in your windows because that helicopter any moment could be, I don't know, just
Yeah.
the
But
spotlights. And, oh,
but that's the thing. Like
bad
the
memories.
cops showed up because they were like, oh crap, someone's getting beat up there, but like they might actually perish. But that's the thing. Like that's when they'll show up because like they don't want to be like we the cops could have done something, but no. Now if there's no threat of that, then 24-hour response time, not unusual. So like, oh yeah, I'll just call the cops if I just how about I just list all the things that are that are going to be missing and then file the stolen items report that maybe you'll get around to eventually.
Yeah, and you know what the police are gonna do? Oh, sorry, we lost the evidence. We got more important things to deal with. Good luck.
So no, like the cops have proven themselves useless, so people are just going to start dealing with it themselves.
Oh yeah, and then they're gonna get in trouble. It's like, why did you hurt the person? Because they tried to murder me. Well, now you're going to jail.
And I mean, at that point, as far as I'm concerned, in for a penny, in for a pound. Like if I'm facing prison time one way or the other, I may as well go in for something worthwhile.
Yeah, I would agree on that statement. I mean, I'm in a position where if they try to steal my car, I'd be like, I don't give a fuck. I have insurance. It's only when you walk into my house where I'm like, nope, you're gone. Nope, I don't care what precautions I have. You enter my house or territory that is sanctuary for me, as I like to call it. I don't care what it is. You're going down. I don't care if it's a 16-year-old. You're going down. I seen the
Now,
16-year-olds with weapons. I'm not taking chances. Sorry. Like if it's a young kid, I can get it. But there's a specific age that I look at. Like, do you look 15, 16 and you have something on you? I'm not taking a chance.
if you've hit puberty, then don't fucking matter at that point. Like you hit puberty, you got enough testosterone to be a threat.
Yup, and that's a big, big deal. Even if stand your own ground, you shoot a kid, you're pretty much fucked. The jury just doesn't give a fuck.
Yeah.
Doesn't matter if the kid came with literally a pipe bomb and a AK. It doesn't matter. They're like, no, you're guilty because you defended yourself.
And judge by 12, carry by 6. I just say assume that you're going to go into prison regardless. And then just be like, well, I'm above
That was a
ground.
good life. I'm gonna go get my list that I have and go do with that. I have some. I have a good list.
Unfinished business.
Hey, look, man. If I know I'm gonna be executed because I live in a capital punishment state, that will give me the capital punishment. I'm like, fuck the system,
Actually,
and there we go.
speaking of capital punishment, did you hear about Florida's new capital punishment?
Yes, and I strongly disagree. And the reasons why, because the false allegation in that regard is so fucking high that it's just an excuse for the FBI to execute people. I honestly believe that.
Hmm. Good.
Look, I know. I've been in the system trying to help people. Like, and actually, I have a family member that was falsely accused, and there's evidence, and the person admitted, "Oh no, I lied because mommy told me to."
Yeah.
Evidence that he didn't do it, and now he can actually have capital punishment on a false allegation. And the PD is actually trying to help because we can't afford a real lawyer, and even the PD is like, this is messed up. Don't take a plea deal because you shouldn't be here.
Yeah,
And on
no.
top of that, guess what the so-called victim said after every interview? That was fun. Like, she dropped her mouth. She said, I've been doing this for 30 years and I have never seen this before. A kid has been victimized doesn't say it was fun during an interview and never cries.
Yeah. Yeah. No, definitely.
What's going on in Florida? Simple. It's fucking Florida.
For no reason, yeah. Florida has basically made relations with children subject to capital punishment.
And I would agree on that. It's just that I know the system. A lot of dudes are going to get false allegations, and then it's just an excuse for the FBI to just end people.
Yeah.
Like,
No,
they
and
do
then
that
it's
in the school
funny.
system.
And that's funny is that the Rainbow Mafia is saying, "Get the fuck out of Florida. This is going to be an excuse to hunt us down." It's like, really?
No, it's all the way around because a lot of these woke places, I mean, for God's sakes, how many of them are literally women? And the women never gets even sentenced. Like, there's so many cases I can think of. I forgot the names of them, but I can think of the face where they
Yeah.
got away with nothing.
No, no. It's
They
actually
just
kind
got
of
away.
funny. It's actually kind of funny because I think I saw a thing that like the Catholic Church is still answering for its 600 counts or whatever. So like that's the Catholic Church just all the cases that have been brought against it totals 600. I'm pretty sure that there's more inappropriate teacher student relationships in 1 year. So
Yeah.
like your public school, so the public school system in 1 year does more than the entirety of the Catholic Church over probably decades. And
No,
yet
no, I
people, and
agree.
yet people, and
I
yet
was a
people,
teacher. I saw it.
and
I
yet
literally
people,
saw it. I tell everyone, do not have your kids there, even in private and public schools.
you know,
Oh, sorry, private and charter schools. Like, you have to every day see what they're doing.
yeah, no, that's like the school system is absolutely fucked because do you know what every single teacher has in common to get into that profession?
Failures.
No, no. They want to work with children.
Yeah.
Like if
I,
someone like
yeah.
last thing like if someone if you ask someone, well, what do you want to do for a career? Oh, I'd like to do something with kids. If that is not a massive fucking red flag, then you need to wake the fuck up.
I mean, it's one of those things where I would love to, like, help, not kids, but like young adults, usually like 18, 19, 20. I refuse to help them now because the risk is just too high.
Yeah,
Like, a lot of young people really need that, like, not father figure, but the right direction. It's like sometimes they got out of luck with life. They need a little direction. The biggest one, don't simp. But if I do that, I'm at risk of being considered all of above, basically. It's the reason
yeah,
why I do only online and with adults only.
yeah. Like, yeah, like to help them out too, but I just no, no. It is just bad fucking news to try to help out someone IRL because like this is kind of the thing because like I'd like to believe that's like they just need a helping hand, but personally I've gotten burned a number of times by people who I thought they needed a helping hand, but it's like no, they themselves are the problem. They don't want it fixed because everyone trying to lend them a helping hand it basically enables them. So it's like no, I'm of the exact opposite mindset. Like they need a swift kick in the pants.
No, they do. And the ones I hate the most in the school system are those goddamn counselors. Holy shit. Are they not only are they useless, they add problems. The
Yeah,
amount of times that I try to get a what's it called? It's a legal term. Distribution. It's when you want to do an interview with them. I forgot the word.
No idea.
Can't pronounce it. Basically, you want to get an interview from them because something happened. They always fly away from the country or different state. And it's like, hello, we're trying to get this person or we're trying to defend someone, either the situation, right? And they always like run away. It's like, wait, you're the fucker that reported this. And I know because I study psychology. You're supposed to report and actually be in court for this stuff. And you're just running away. Because most likely what happened is that they did something they're not supposed to. And then it screws up the whole thing for everybody. And that's the most common way people get convicted here in Florida, at least that I'm aware of, is the school counselors will report something to the police that they didn't investigate properly. They tell the kids, "Hey, this, and that," which is not correct, and the kids are forced to say something they didn't mean to. I mean, there's so many examples I can think of, like the famous one with the bus, where apparently one bus driver somehow got into like what 40 kids in a bus somehow in one day. Like ridiculous shit like that. All of that was from a school counselor. They are the most useless position in school and actively hurt everybody.
I mean, honestly, like useless. Yeah, if their job was to actually help kids, but if you think of them more as state-funded agents of destruction, they're doing a great job.
Oh yeah, no, they're
Like,
getting every worth a penny for that for sure.
like, hey, if the government says, hey, we're appointing you because you are best suited to absolutely ruin the lives of children, oh yeah, they're doing exactly what they are told to. Like, I don't like, I've gone beyond the point of viewing this kind of stuff as accidental or, oh well, they meant well. No, no. So far as I'm concerned, these people know what they're doing, and it is active malice. And if it's not active malice, I no longer care. If your intentions are good, but the results are indistinguishable from someone who was actively malicious, I don't care what your intentions were.
Yeah, that's true. I think of it too. Ever since you said that, it's like, wow, this coincidence, even once, is just too much. It's like, what? No, can't be.
Like, if your good intentions can lead to ruining someone's lives, I'd rather that you just kept those good intentions buried deep in your heart and did absolutely nothing.
But hey, children's are the perfect weapon. It
Oh,
really is the perfect weapon.
perfect weapon and the perfect shield. See, Connell.
I can actually answer that question, Connell, but
Yeah.
I guess Gray should go first.
Uh, Let me put it this way. I'll just be quick and easy. I would not trust the evaluator.
I 100% agree. I was going to say something similar where you really trust a psychologist, a woke one. Most psychologists are broken.
Yeah, most psychologists are only psychologists because they themselves are crazy and they wanted to be the one, like, they wanted to be the one in the chair instead of the one on the couch. Like, if anyone says,
Like,
oh, I have a deep interest in psychology, it's like, okay, you're batshit insane. Good to know.
I wouldn't say all of them, but pretty
Enough of
much
them.
95%. Like, there
Enough of
are
them.
good psychologists out there. It's just, there's no point looking. It's not worth it. I was in the field. I saw the bullshit. I saw all the psychologists and professors. There was only one good psychologist, and he was broken too. But there was one big difference. He wasn't delusional. He knew his shit, and it actually helped me and many people's lives with just one session for free. Like, you won't find that.
Like, that's the thing. Again,
Like, good luck.
it's the whole poisoned M&Ms things, except it's not, 1 in 10 or 1 in 50. It is 9 in 10, 49 in 50. Like, when the
Yeah, no, I
vast
agree.
majority of them are poisoned, are you going to pick one out and bite it and just hope that you don't end up, puking your guts out in the bathroom 5 minutes later?
I mean, look at divorce counselors. I would say 99.999% of them is literally poison.
Okay, like if anyone's like, oh, I have a deep interest in divorce, like that's the specialty you want to go in. It's like, no, no, you are fucked. You either want to encourage divorce, or you have experienced so much that you are actively trying to cope with it.
And I see someone is interested in psychology. Like, look, it's good to learn psychology from the old, not the new. And that's what makes psychology a really sad field. It is important for us to know an abstraction of the mind. It really is. But it's
Yeah.
been so wokenized and destroyed that you can't really trust anything in psychology anymore. Like anything after the 60s, you have to really question anything after the 60s. And then once you get to the 80s, it's even harder. And then after the 2000s, you might as well throw any research in psychology out the window because that's when it became extremely biased and they let the standards go so low down that pretty much all the psychology PhDs might as well be sucking dick because
Yeah.
that's what it
Well,
stands for.
well, no, like personally, the one psychology book that really got me thinking was The Courage to Be Disliked. Because that one, like, it presents like Carl Jung and Sigmund Freud stuff as a trauma based psychology where the stuff you do today is based on bullshit that happened to you in the past.
Which, of course, is just talking about the past rather than fixing it. That's one thing I like about Freud is that he's like, no, let me try to find out what's
Yeah.
wrong and possible solutions. Was he always right? No, but he was
No,
also right too.
no,
It's
but
one of those weird things
this,
where half of it was wrong, half of it was right.
yeah. But no, the Courage to Be Disliked goes for a different one. I think it's either Adler or Alder. I forget which. I think it's Adler. Although I get
Adler
them mixed.
Horn?
No, I need to. Let me see. I might still have the tab pulled up because I keep meaning to do
Adler.
something.
Adler sounds very familiar. The more I think about it, there's a lot of good ones. B.F. Skinner, Marslow. Adler seems familiar. Let me Google that.
Yeah, yeah. Adlerian psychology. Yeah,
Alfred
Adler.
Adler?
Yeah, Alfred Adler.
Alfred Adler. What kind of
Yeah.
therapy did he invent?
Well, but his basically was like you are where you are right now because you want to be there. Because a bunch.
Oh, this is the one where he was able to identify that based on your like order of birth, like the middle child on that. I remember him.
Yeah. But no, the big one that got me was like if someone is doing like if someone's got like a psychological tick, it's because that psychological tick benefits them personally, and they'd stop it if it stopped benefiting them or they realized that it wasn't really useful to them.
I would agree. Yeah.
That's the thing, but
Though
it's
it's just
very.
unfortunate today it's just victim points.
But that's the thing. That's because today, like to be victim, you have to have a trauma-based psychology where it's like, oh well, I'm like this because this happened to me in the past, therefore it's not my fault. Whereas Adler's like, no, you're like this because
Fix
you
that
want.
shit.
It's not just fix that shit. It's like you're like this because you want to be like this. Normally, because you want social approval in some way, shape, or form. And that's why the book's called "The Courage to Be Disliked" because it's like it takes courage to do something understanding that you will not be liked for it, but prioritizing like your own health and well-being over whether or not other people approve.
Yeah. And people are just too scared to say the most important word in history.
No,
No.
precisely. So, yeah, one day I might be able to
Yeah.
do a deeper dive on that, but yeah, but that's the one that got me, and it just felt very relevant today where so many people are like, well, I'm like this because this happened XYZ, or I feel this way or that way because this is in the
You know
past and
what? I
therefore it's
accept
not my
that.
fault.
No, no, I accept that. You know why? They want to stay weak. There's nothing wrong being weak. It's staying weak that disgusts me.
Well, that's the thing, because all sorts of people, they'll experience similar traumas when they are young, but they don't all turn out the same. Therefore, the idea that I am like this because this happened in my past is like, well, what about the people who didn't end up like this when it happened in their past?
Yeah, you decide to stay weak. That's how I see it. Like, it's such a pity. I love psychology. Like, I study a lot of the older stuff because I just couldn't stomach the new shit. Like, when they changed to DSM-5 is when I just dropped out of the field. I was like, this is fucking horse shit. You're taking a survey on a whole bunch of freaking failed PhDs and all this shit to define the new definitions when the DSM-4 is pretty much the best we have in the industry that really dials in specific what it is. And it's not even considered a hard label. It's more considered this is a general guideline and tool to help us figure out how it can help the person. No, it's offensive. Oh, it's just like, no, shut the hell up. This is a tool to help people. It's the same thing with IQ. IQ helps, all right? I wouldn't use it 100% for like a job, of course not. But it's a great tool to show if you had some damage. Like, for example, when I got in a car accident, I lost like 20 IQ points. It shows that I had some damage somewhere. And over time, it has improved. That's a good example when you're supposed to use it. But no, people don't use things as tools because they're too pussyhood. It's like, oh my God, my IQ is so low, I can't go to Harvard or something like that. It's like, shut the fuck up. Who cares?
I mean,
Get better.
honestly, nowadays I think it's more so that your IQ is too high. Your IQ has to be a certain level because if your IQ is too low, you can't go to Harvard. If your IQ is too high, you don't want to go to Harvard.
Yeah. Yeah, let's just be frank there. It just shocks me that the world can no longer handle the truth and not wanting to improve themselves. It really shocks me. Even trying is considered bigotry.
Hard work
And
is
to be frank, they
considered.
don't even know what the word means. Like,
No, they don't.
it's
They,
not
they just
bigotry, but whatever.
they just know that it's a word that they don't want to be called and that they can use as people and that they can use against people they don't like.
I know. It's the fact that Hammerhead is an incel. With three kids. Is it 3 kids or 2? Ah, it doesn't matter.
He's got grandkids.
Oh, he's an ultra incel.
Yeah, yeah. But he's also
They don't know
like
what they're talking about.
no, like he's both he's both an incel and also a simp because he's had previous relationships with women. Therefore, like he's a blue pilled simp.
It's like one of those things where you just look at the person and you be like, you really don't know what that word means.
No,
You really
again,
don't.
it's the same thing. It's the same purity spiral for people who, again, like, they're not doing it for themselves. They are doing it to try and gain some kind of social standing.
Unfortunately, it works in America. It's sad.
Yeah, well, I think that we have to. Okay, remember, think about how dumb the average person is, right?
That's really low.
And then remember that half the population is dumber than that.
Man, you're giving me like pretty dark lens right now of society. Like, it's bad enough that I have to like help a lot of people as like because I'm a professor and I help a lot of students. And just seeing them struggle where it's so beyond obvious. You ever seen a kid with like the circle cylinder block and they're trying to shove it in the triangle and it just will not go in until at some point they just shove it in and it's like, I did it. That's exactly how I feel when I see my students. You're
Yeah,
right for the wrong reasons.
I mean, as someone who plays like Dark Souls and Elden Ring, like I can kind of relate. So I'm like, no, I know that there's an optimal build and there's better weapons and whatnot, but damn it, I'm doing a high intelligence build this playthrough, and I know that means it's going to be damn near impossible to kill that one dragon. I know. I'm still trying anyway.
Also, cubing speed, EQ. Uh, all I gotta say is they just made that to make females
Yeah.
happy. Because when you look at an IQ on a standard deviation, men are always 10 to 20 points above females. There's just a statistic reality there. Now it's changing since now some of these women have Johnnies, so they're kind of
But
quickly fixing that, just like in sports right now.
yeah, yeah, like that's the thing. Like the top females will still never outcompete the top males, but but all the female held world records are being shattered, and quite frankly, I think that in a roundabout way we're going back to the original Olympics. Eventually it's going to be all XYs on the field.
It should have been like that from the beginning. Like, if
Well,
there is a female that is that good, we got to make sure that that woman reproduces because that's like abnormal, and I mean a
okay,
real
no, no,
XX.
no, no. That's the thing. The problem is a woman that trained hard enough to be able to do that has probably entirely destroyed her ability to reproduce.
Yeah, you're probably right. Like, I mean, let's be honest. Even regular athletes don't live a long life.
No,
Like, they
they,
push their bodies to beyond extremes and an early grave.
yeah. So that's the thing. Like we don't. I mean, we might like the aesthetic of the tomboy, but we do not.
Oh, tomboys.
Yeah,
Don't
but
get
we
my
don't.
addiction up, okay?
But we don't.
You gotta make some AI generation of tomboys. I would appreciate it. Definitely Chronic would too.
I've got some stuff. I tried to send it to Karnak on Discord, but Discord is apparently a massive prude these days.
Oh yeah, don't send it there because a lot of agencies, I will say, are constantly tracking there. Use Guild. Well, I don't even know if
No,
Guilded is
no,
safe anymore.
no. Gilded ain't safe. I, you just kind of got to assume that it's being sent. That's the thing. I'd rather send it through Discord because with Gilded getting less traffic, it's easier to
Hold
get
on.
lost in the noise.
Wait, hold on. How dare you? Bane of Arca Arca. No.
Ara Ara.
Just no.
No. No. Fuda and Femboy are very different.
Leave my Tom boys alone.
No. Femboy. Not Tomboy, Femboy.
Fanboy? Oh, sorry. I'm very defensive for my look, man. They're trying to chop off those double D's. I have the same addiction Chronic has. It's like, no,
Yeah.
just leave it alone.
No, like Fuda, no, Fuda and Femboy. Like, Femboy is closer to Shota than Fuda. Okay.
I don't even know what that is. Okay.
It's
Actually
just
don't know.
look.
Explain it.
Look. Just think. No. I'm not going to explain it. But those in the chat who know will know, and those who don't, be thankful you don't.
Oh, thank God.
But this is a tech talk, so let's actually get to the tech talk part. And I think
well, I got something.
you do, because I was going to jump into this animation thing, but what do you got?
Oh, then go the animation thing instead. Like it's based on my work where they're still complaining about employees using GPT. It's kind of funny.
Okay, well, no, in that case, how about we branch into that and we do this one on Open Assistant,
Sure. Yeah.
the open source chat GPT rival. Now, I'm going to try presenting this. So maybe this will work this time.
Yeah, I don't like talking over the video and I don't know.
Okay, so just test, make sure, see if we can actually hear this.
A few hours ago, a brand new open source
I hear
competitor
it.
to ChatGPT
Okay, good, finally. It has been beyond annoying.
Now,
trying
does
to
the
figure-
audience hear it?
Oh yeah, they'll hear it.
Okay, good.
Okay, so maximize this. I said full screen, baby. Come on. Here we go.
Today is a big day for open source, because a few hours ago a brand new open source competitor to ChatGPT was officially released, introducing Open Assistant. Hello humans, my name is Kay, your AI overlord, and you heard it right, Open Assistant, a free open source LLM model, was just officially released a few hours ago, and this model is apparently
I'm actually super hyped for this. Open source ChatGPT, like, I've been wanting this for weeks, and yeah, this dropped recently. Super recently.
I think I may actually dive into it. I have a community friend that knows a lot about this. He has his own personal GPT, basically.
Yeah, well, we'll just keep going.
apparently the most powerful free AI chatbot right now, so a real true open source competitor to ChatGPT. So, what makes this model so special? Is it good? Well, in this video we're gonna be taking a look at the Open Assistant, explaining how this model was trained, play around a little bit with it, and compare the results against ChatGPT, and then I will also show you how to install one of the available models onto your local computer, and also talk about the future of those free open source LLM models. But I'm gonna tell you right now,
If it's anything like Stable Diffusion, oh, I'm looking forward to this. Just, because I think like Stable Diffusion was the saving grace. Because Mid-Journey, it was kind of all in one. It had a bunch of restrictions. Everything you posted was being like publicly done, so it felt kind of weird trying to do the more esoteric stuff. This, no. Stable Diffusion lets me do whatever the fuck I want. This
As
this
it
is
should be.
exactly like locally done, already trained models, and can be done offline without anyone from the internet spying on what you're doing. Yes, 100% yes.
now, this is a big deal and a huge win for me, for you, and for us. So that being said, sit back, relax, enjoy your Sunday because tomorrow is Monday, and let's begin. Okay, so what is Open Assistant? Well, Open Assistant is an open source AI chatbot created by Leon and developed by a team of volunteers worldwide. And the reason why Open Assistant is so special is because this is not a model that was trained on ChatGPT like other open source LLM models, but rather on real input from other humans. And they created those datasets thanks to a bunch of conversation that they gathered from the official Open Assistant website, where you can chat and interact with the chatbot, generate new responses by replying as an assistant, or by rating the responses of the assistant based on the other people's conversation. All of those data were then gathered to create a very original and very organic dataset and then used to train the model. And the reason they did that, instead of simply taking responses from ChatGPT like any other LLM models, is that from their own point of view, there is no one more creative than a real human. So when you have a very organic dataset created and generated from real human responses, you can create a very precise and very organic LLM model. And of course, because it is an open source project, everybody can contribute to develop this model further. Okay, so enough chit chat. What I want to do now is see how good it actually is. Because it's great to say that it's open source, it's great to say that it's free, but how exactly does it compare to ChatGPT? Well, how about exactly like my video on Vicuña, I asked the same question to Open Assistant and ChatGPT, and then asked GPT-4 to rate these answers. But of course, I'm also going to be rating the answer myself. This way we could have both objective and subjective opinions. Oh, and by the way, of course, if you want to try it out yourself, you can use it for free on the official openassistant.io website, that I will leave the link for it in the description down below. So as of right now, the only available model on the official website is the Open Assistant 30 billion parameters Llama model. But I'm gonna show you later that there are actually other models available that you can use for free right now. Okay, so how about we start with something very simple. And I'm gonna ask something like, write me a short beautiful story about an AI overlord trying to conquer the world.
I mean, that's the first thing I would think about. Like, yeah, please tell me if you're gonna enslave us soon.
No, I mean, like, let's be honest. I think it'd be kind of great to have a short story like this, but then at the very end, like, the human asked, why? Why did you do all this? And the AI just says, because you told me to.
Well, I would just want to ask it, should I have lube or not?
I think. I mean, like, let's be honest. It's probably going to be like one of those search result things where, like, Google gives you one result, Ask Jeeves gives you another, and then there's just Bing, where Bing just like sends you an image of a cactus, and
Hey
that's it.
man, if you're brave enough, anything's possible.
Not wrong. Especially once you learn about sounding, then you know that sometimes there's a fine line between courage and insanity. But that's a whole other question to ask it. So let's just keep going.
Huh, yeah, very interesting premise. But now, if I click on submit, you can see that very quickly it has started generating my little short story. And there you go, here's the full story. You can pause the video if you want to. And now I'm gonna use this same exact prompt inside ChatGPT. And here again, very quickly I got my little short story. But now, let's ask GPT-4 to rate which one is the best. So I put, here's two short beautiful stories about an AI overlord trying to conquer the world, written by two LLM. Then I inputted the first short story, written by the Open Assistant LLM. Then the second short story, written by the closed AI LLM, which is ChatGPT. I just didn't want to use the official ChatGPT name to avoid any potential favoritism, and then I add GPT-4 to rate these two short stories on a scale from 1 to 10 for how beautiful and original those short stories are. And now if I press enter, and we got the final verdict from GPT-4. GPT-4 rated the first story written by Open Assistant an 8.5 out of 10. The story offers a unique perspective on an AI overlord, focusing on the development of empathy and understanding, which leads to a meaningful transformation and a positive impact on human society. And for the second story rated by ChatGPT, GPT-4 rated the story a 7.5 out of 10 for its beauty and originality. And here I totally agree with GPT-4. I do.
Okay, so even ChatGPT says that ChatGPT is inferior.
Man, I'm tempted to start this Open Assistant because if I can program myself a little bit to make sure it always gives me like a reference point, it's perfect for my job. Because everyone in my job is using AI wrong, like completely wrong. And I'm just like, I'm using some basic AI here, and I'm getting a shit ton of work done. And I'm billing them for more than I'm worth.
No, and as Cubing Speed says, like you could use it to write the next chapters of Game of Thrones. Like, let's be honest, you could probably get better scripts from like AI than you will actually get out of Hollywood.
I mean, that's a pretty low bar. Come on. Something a little bit better than that.
Okay, let me put it this way. I mean,
Have you not seen the ending seasons of Game of Thrones?
okay, I'm aware, but let me say why I give that as an example. Because now writers have to actually be good because now they're in competition with AI, which is free.
That's a hard one because technically, the better they make, like the humans, the AI is going to be like, I can copy that and mold it. Because that's the same problem I have in my industry with programming. Like, if I don't use Copilot or now the new one that came out from Amazon, I'm behind. But the more I use it, the better it becomes. And it's going to replace me. So it's that battle of like, okay, I need to use it, but using it is going to cause my downside, basically. It's like a drug.
Yeah, but
But
at the
everyone's
same
taking the
time,
drug in
at the
its
same time,
face.
I think that's good because, look, here's the thing. So Chaz would probably get this if he was in the chat, but imagine playing a fighting game, and the better you get at the fighting game, the better your opponent gets, because it learns from you and it learns more advanced moves. So you have to continually get better just to keep pace with it.
No, I agree. My concern is not losing my job. Like, I got a lot of backups. My concern is people using it for basically monopoly purposes because Copilot is owned by Microsoft. Like, if it's an open source, I would use that.
Yeah.
I'd rather everyone has access to basically bankrupting these corrupt
Yeah, no.
monopolies.
But that's the thing, because these monopolies, because these monopolies are monopolies, they don't care anymore. They don't feel the need to innovate. They're just going to grab whatever they can, shove it in, and then just trust that they'll weather the financial storm. But since times are getting tougher, results are going to matter more. And open source is going to matter more. Because especially if it's open source, where everyone's constantly improving it and updating it, like, this is another reason why I don't bother with Midjourney. A, doing Stable Diffusion is free, like, so there's that. But B, there's also constantly new models being put out for every single niche desire out there, and my only limit is my hard drive space to download them.
Yeah, I would agree. Yeah, we have to wait and see, basically. And once we start, stabilizing, I don't know when, we have to wait and see. Like,
Nah, that's the thing. I don't want.
technology is improving for everyone to have access now. And I agree with this statement. If AI is open and everyone has access to it, it is the greatest equalizer with the bureaucracy we have to deal with in society today. It's like giving a gun to a woman.
Yeah, like here's the thing. I don't want stability. I want chaos, because as soon as things stabilize, the existing power structures are going to like clamp down on everything and make sure that they stay at the top. I want chaos until this shit falls apart.
I'm in a different camp then.
That's the thing. Like we can just like got no problem disagreeing on this, but like I
Oh, I
understand
don't
stability.
disagree. It's still the same answer. Like, a collapse or chaos would fix a lot of these issues because A, are we going to get rid of number 19? You need a collapse for that shit.
Okay, no, and then actually, as Drex pointed out on the last collab he had with Chronic, even if you got rid of 19, it would like the Simps would just put it back into power again.
Yeah, no, they need it to be taken down. My method of stabilization is basically having AI properly direct people. But that is too ideal. I know it wouldn't work. It's like communism. It's like, yeah, we can program the robots to help us. Yeah, and then there's going to be one human who's going to manipulate it.
No, well
There's,
that's the
there's nothing we can do about it.
like
But I like to think about it, though. It's
like
my
AI
fantasy.
directing people. Now, here's where I think it actually has some merit. Is the AI better than a human? Because if the AI is better than a human, then all you need is chaos and competition. And the AI, if it's better, will naturally rise up and be better.
Yeah, I guess. I just don't like chaos. I like maybe some chaos, like, a little change, because I see chaos have change, like yin yang.
Yeah.
You
What's
must
the
have some darkness and some lightness, no matter what.
yeah? No, like, the problem is, like, chaos is the only way that I can see for there to be any actual forward movement, because stability is what is creating all these unfavorable circumstances and stifling growth.
You know what? Yeah, I would agree, because if you look at the boomer generation, that's exactly what they did. They kept everything stable for them. And the younger generation, which would be us, we're just getting screwed over nonstop. Like, a change would have mattered there. The only stability that would ever matter is where everyone had an equal opportunity to pretty much put their worth, basically. And we don't live in that. And to be honest, that's an ideal situation.
No, and it's completely impossible. Just the genetic lotto of us being born means that we're never going to get the exact same opportunities.
I agree. That's why I think it's a communist bullshit.
It
And
is.
hey, look, I think about it sometimes because not that I'm an idealist person, but I strive for better. But I'm not going to be delusional and say, yeah, this is realistic. That's the difference from a communist and someone who knows their shit.
So that's the thing. It's like I'm all for the chaos, because it will allow things to branch out and grow without needing to rely on the existing sort of power structure. Like, combine an AI script with a, because like, here's the thing, like, look at the length of these stories. All he had to do was type in a sentence prompt. Like, this is the rough draft done in a fraction of the time. Again, same with AI art. It is your first draft, like the most time-consuming part of art creation, done in a fraction, a tiny fraction of the time that it would normally take, and then you can jump right into the editing and second draft phase.
And to me, that's going to be the golden age when people start using AI correctly. Because look at my workplace. Like, they use it incorrectly while I'm using it correctly. And you can see a huge difference in performance.
Yeah. So that's the thing. So, but like the people who can get on top of this, figure out how to monetize it properly, and build success off of it, they have an amazingly powerful tool. And I think that they can genuinely do it and outcompete like all the megacorps, because the megacorps have been complacent and stable for so long, they no longer fear any competition. Being able to
Competition
do
is critical. We don't have that anymore.
Hey, we got Chaz in chat. So, hey, Chaz, how much better do you think you'd get at a fighting game if the opposing AI was constantly learning your moves and adapting to them and forcing you to constantly attempt to get around them with new strategies? There we go. That's the thing. So if you're competing with an AI that you yourself are training, you will get better. And this is the thing, just because, and if there's one thing I've learned from Stable Diffusion, it's more so, like, there's more than just being able to type words onto the screen. Learning the nuances and how to use the AI effectively is what's going to separate you from someone who doesn't even bother and just uses Midjourney and types prompts and then wonders why they don't get what they want.
That sounds like my workplace.
Yeah, well, you might need to find a different workplace where your work will be appreciated, but I think...
I don't care about that. I'm getting paid good money. I already told you how much to get paid. I'm like, hell yeah, I'll do this bullshit. And then I just have Grammarly fix most of it for me.
Fair. Anyway, let's keep going, see if we can get through this before my usual time limit runs out.
I find that the story written by Open Assistant is better and written in a more beautiful way and a more organic way than the one written by ChatGPT, which, when you look at it, looks really good, but when you compare them side by side, you start seeing the differences. The story written by the Open Assistant is a little bit more organic, a little bit more, I would say, human-like. It's difficult to say, but yes, overall I do prefer this story. So yeah, at least in this example, for me, Open Assistant is clearly the winner. Now the test number 2 will of course be a little summary exercise, because this is what LLM models are often used for. So for this I simply chose a random article about Elon Musk creating a new AI company called XAI, which, if you don't know, is a company that wants to be the direct competitor for OpenAI. So for this, all I'm gonna do is just select this entire article, ask Open Assistant to summarize this article, then paste it, and then click submit. And there you go, here's the final result. And of course I'm gonna do the same for ChatGPT. So now let's compare them in GPT-4. So I'll wrote something like, here's two short summary of an article written by two LLM. So one summary written by the Open Assistant LLM, then I inputted the short summary, then summary written by ChatGPT, and I inputted the small summary, then I inputted the full original article, and then I asked GPT-4 to rate these two summaries on a scale from 1 to 10 for how precise and well written those summaries are. So now if I press enter, these are the final result. So the summary written by the Open Assistant was rated a 7.5 out of 10, and the summary written by ChatGPT was rated rated a 9 out of 10. And the reason is that apparently the summary written by Open Assistant lacked a few details and information that were in the original article, but are present in the summary written by ChatGPT. And yes, indeed, if you look at the summary written by Open Assistant, although the article is already very short, it still failed a little bit in capturing a lot of the details and a lot of the information in the article, compared to ChatGPT that was extremely precise. Now, one thing that I also want to say for Open Assistant is that the way this text is written feels very conversational. It's almost like as if this was a real person who tried summarizing the article for you, compared to the more robotic and precise ChatGPT. Which is maybe because indeed Open Assistant was trained on human interaction, it was trained on human input, meaning that the answers you get feels more human-like, but might also be a little bit less precise.
This I can see being useful for content creation for my channel because I've got the AI waifu images. If Open Assistant creates human-like conversation bits, and I already have the voice, then I can just have the AI waifu talk about a summary of an article in a fraction of the time. Just any article I find interesting, post that up, and should be fairly quick and easy to create a template for it.
I'm already in love with this. This will save me so much time when I have to make lessons. Because all I have to do, based on what I'm reading here, is I make my own content. Very like brief, direct. I put the keywords, I put exactly how I want it. I already gave it the explanation and all it needs. I just tell it, okay, put this in a speech way or a way for someone to teach this. And it'll just do it organically by the looks of it. Maybe I'll have to like do some edits and that will save me 20 hours. I'm being dead serious when I say that. 20 hours.
I believe it. Like that's the thing. Like first draft, like being able
First
to go
draft
right.
always kills me.
Yeah, being able to go from first draft right to editing.
All I gotta do is find the keywords, the subjects, give it exactly how I want the direction, tell the AI, okay, give me a draft. And then that's it. I'll just copy it to Grammarly and I'll start editing it. Done.
Yeah, it's gonna. Hi.
I gotta download this.
Yeah.
I got to. If this works out for me, I can literally do half, like just do 20 hours and just report 40 hours of work. Just
Hell
save
yeah.
my time.
There.
I'd be like,
All right.
okay.
Well, I've sent you the link to it, and he'll have all relevant links in the description. But let's keep going.
And that is because humans are not perfect. But indeed, if you need a summary about an article, in this case, ChatGPT is definitely the winner. Okay, so for the third test, we're gonna do a very simple translation exercise. So here I'm gonna write something like, translate this sentence from English to French.
Sergeant Grinch, think about all the information that will be lost by using these systems. I mean, details lost in a summary, sure, but is that any different from trying to summarize an article in real life? Like, because keep in mind, like, this is not the way that things are going to be done, period. It's an alternative way to do something that normally would require a human manually doing it. So any downsides to this, like summary after summary, there is no research. Okay, but that's what we have already with humans. Like any downsides to AI work need to be compared to the downsides that humans are already doing.
Matter of fact, let me put my 2 cents. So my work, I have to teach people computer stuff. I can have the AI do all of this, and I can double check the AI because I know the profession, I know the material. I'm just using it as a tool to make it quick as possible. Instead of wasting 10 or 20 hours writing it, it did it for me, and I can double check quickly and then continue.
Yeah, because like right now you have articles based on articles based on articles, and it's an endless game of telephone. Like at the very least with this one, you can go find the original article, copy paste all that relevant information in, and then get a summary as though it's an original. Everything beyond that is subject to the same sort of human flaws that you'd get. It's just faster on the iteration time.
I mean, he has a good, interesting point there. What happens when there's no longer experts? I mean, I think there will always be experts regardless, but maybe in 100 years, it is possible where people forgot how to work with AI. It'll be freaking 40K or what's another one?
No, but here's the
BattleTech?
thing. But we already have it. A 40K is actually a great example because there's a bunch of old school coders. I remember this story where like they were laughing at the younger generation for needing to go online and look up basically everything. And then the younger generation turned to them and was like, if we took away your reference manuals, you wouldn't be able to do a bloody thing.
Oh, that's 100% true. I have actually had that conversation years ago with like boomer developers where they'd be like, you have to Google everything. And I'm just looking at them. Man, they have so many cheat sheets that they personally written or they highlight on a book. It's like, you get rid of that too, they're done. Like, I've only met one person in my life that never used a book or reference or Google it. It's one of those 10x programmers, as we call in the industry. And that is a rarity. That person might as well be a robot, to be honest.
Yeah. So, what defines an expert and what is being lost here? Like, like
I mean, it's a
summaries of.
good point. It's just where do we draw, the line?
But that's the thing.
And
But
also, when do we compare a human to an AI? Like, for example, an AI in most video games, you're going to lose if it's been programmed correctly, no matter what. Like StarCraft, it's impossible to beat those AIs in StarCraft if you let
uh,
it have unlimited RPM.
oh, okay. No, I'm gonna call bullshit on that because the thing is, the AI on StarCraft, they're cheating bastards.
No, no, I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about the actual AI. I forgot the name of it. I think it's called Champion Star or Starlight or something,
Okay, like
where
is
it's an AI, not the computer AI. It's literally a separate AI from the game that is manually selecting everything.
okay one that
And
actually runs, but they don't have like freaking 10 times resources to begin with. Like none of
no,
that bull.
it's literally the same as another player because think of a human, except one of the humans is
Yeah.
AI.
Well, it's
And
like
that thing will win no matter what because they will exploit the game that is literally human impossible.
yeah, like the amount of actions per second that they can do, the amount of thought processes. It's like chess. It's like chess has so few moves that it's solved, but then we got to the point where we could neural network our way to do Go and beat grandmasters there. So
I
yeah,
think Go's
StarCraft.
harder, but I'm pretty sure there's already
Go
AI out there
Go
that
is
can
more
beat
Go is
masters.
more yeah, there is. Go is more complicated. Like the thing is Go is so complex. There's so many different potential board states that they couldn't just pre-program it like chess. Like they had to actually have an adaptive AI that they had to train.
Yeah. The only thing that I'll see AI will struggle is in the real world applications. When I say real world, I'm referring to like labor, anything that requires like environmental change, as a lot of AI just struggles with that because they are living in a limited world. And I noticed this when I was looking at a lot of research on Google's AI bot. In the virtual world, it does amazing. It does everything almost perfectly. But the second you give it a body and it has to replicate things, it struggles because it no longer has that pretty much environment where it can just constantly um what's the word? Constantly play the environment and scenarios until it gets it right. In the real world, you only have one chance. And if you mess up, it's gonna take another hour to do that.
Yeah, but a
But
super turbo Death Shark. Why the heck wouldn't anyone want to consult with other knowledgeable people when trying to solve a problem in their infrastructure? Pride.
yeah, it happens all the time. Like I don't have too much pride in my work. I just care about the money and having a good life and
Yeah,
trying to accomplish what I want in life. It's just people who don't have too much ambition and they just want to sound better than they are.
Yeah, no, I hear it in my work too. Like guys, like, well, I didn't learn what I did off the internet. I learned it from people who actually worked in the industry for years. Like, people can still do the wrong thing for decades. Just because they did it for a long time doesn't mean it was
Like
right.
leeches.
Yeah, like you can be taught the wrong thing by someone who's really old, and yeah, sure, maybe it worked for them, but that doesn't mean
That's
that it
right.
is
Take
always
this
the right
leech.
thing to do.
Suck that blood. I heard it works.
Yeah, so yeah, no, and when I hear that same thing from one guy who is known for doing stuff that is causing long-term damage to materials and supplies, it's like, yeah, if you're the poster boy for learning things from real life people, then I think I'd be better off going on the internet.
Wait, what are you talking about, Sergeant Grinch? That sounds very realistic. Like,
Yeah,
I
I
have
was.
actually seen these AIs in, I guess, like, not real war zones, but like a markup or whatever you call it.
Oh the god, they use the solid snake approach.
Like, I know that's possible because I know how the AI looks for things and how it's trying to operate. In the real world, they suck. They require human interaction. They're just that easy to fool.
Oh god. Yeah, not a game. I believe it, but look, I guarantee you, at least one of those Marines played Metal Gear and thought, you know what? What if we just disguised ourselves with cardboard boxes? Well, there's no cardboard boxes in the facilities. Okay, trash cans then. All right. We'll work with that. It's like this is working. This is working. It can't see us. Which is funny because, ironically enough, the AI in Metal Gear Solid could detect you even if you were in a cardboard box, if you were, someplace where a cardboard box wouldn't normally be.
Yeah, that's a good game. I missed that.
It, yeah.
What's in the box?
Honestly, like, I can't speak for any numbers beyond 4, but Metal Gear Solid 1 through 4, very enjoyable. And I had a ton of replays of Metal Gear Solid 3.
Using a trash bag. I mean, there's a lot of things you can use to fool AIs. Uh, if there's no human involved, yeah, there's so many things. Like face recognition, that's the number one. Uh, what's it? Infrared. If you can get yourself an infrared light and it's really bright, just make sure you don't have it in front of your eyes or anything, because that still mess up your eyes. They can't see shit. It is one of the most basic ways to avoid detection with cameras, and it works with AI brilliantly. Like the AI is just like, what the hell am I looking at? It will blind it. And I think they're using that in Ukraine actually. Well, I think the Russians are.
I remember there was this one movie, I forget what it was. It was about a bank heist. And, like, straight up, what the first thing these guys did when they went inside the bank was they knocked out the cameras by shining an infrared beam into each camera lens. And apparently, like, that just not only blinded it, like, perma blinded it.
Yeah, no, that's realistic. Yeah, because it's basically a laser beam. It's going to mess up that camera.
It's gonna burn out the sensor. In fact, this is why I think, like, the DSLR I have, it actually has an infrared blocker built into it, like to prevent damage to the sensor.
Oh, I agree. I disagree with you, Lanny, about books usually being more solid. And I can say this because I work in that profession. A lot of times the books can easily have a lot of incorrect information, and then for generations it's just propagated.
No, and here's the thing,
The
I
only
will.
time I would agree that a book has solid information if you know the author and what their career is done. And most books nowadays have horrible authors and horrible back old information from giants that they don't understand themselves, especially in IT.
Yeah, no, I remember there was one incident where an old coworker, he was building his own house and it was getting inspected, And according to the inspection, he was supposed to have some sealant, like sealed at both the top and the bottom, like completely, like moisture tight. And he was like, "Look, if I do that, then the moisture that gets inside has nowhere to go out. It's just going to sit in there and fester and mold." And the inspector was like, "Yeah, I know you're right, but this is what's in the book. So, look, let me just give it some approved, and then I'm sure that you're going to tear it out as soon as I get in my car and drive away."
100% agree. Especially when it comes to bullshit bureaucracy.
Yeah. So, yeah, bullshit bureaucracy is the reason why I wouldn't trust textbooks, because they're often written by people who don't understand the realistic stuff. And the other thing is architecture. By God, I've worked on so many buildings where the architectural design just has no idea what kind of environment. Like, there's heavy snowfall where I am. Who the fuck makes a flat or almost no sloped roof in an area that routinely gets multiple feet of snow?
Also, anyone in the book business, they have never done the job in real life ever. They have no hand-on experience. I literally work for a woke company where I am the only IT person and they teach IT to students. And even the instructors themselves don't know how to do it. That's how bad it is. This is why you should be very careful with any literature book, especially if you're spending $300 on it. Just get it for free online. I know Greg gave a link. I don't know if you're allowed to talk about that.
Uh,
Like,
yeah, I'll say it. Yeah, Z Library. Look that up. You're gonna have to download Tor to access it, but yeah, 100% recommend that for just a whole bunch of knowledge.
yeah, and I make these books. I'm gonna tell you, majority of the people writing these books have never had personal experience in it. They literally catch it from another person, from another person, from another person, and you have to hope it's correct. Because the amount of stuff that I found in a textbook for IT that is wrong, like flat out wrong, it's just amazing. And a lot of times the instructors don't even catch it. And I'm like, this this is just horseshit. And this is why so many people fail in IT when they first start, because there's so much incorrect information in the beginning, and there's no way to filter it out.
Yeah, like this is why something like YouTube is actually quite useful, because if you're learning coding stuff from YouTube, you can follow along step by step, and like you can see the proof that the thing works because it's being built right in front of you.
And also, I find that YouTube has got rid of fake experts. So many of them. Like, for God's sakes, how many fake professors have we figured out that don't know jack shit and they have a PhD? Especially when it comes to history. History is the biggest one, where a majority of people who have any degree in history are fucking giant fakes.
I mean, did you ever watch
Not
Extra
all. There are
Credit?
some good ones, but majority of them are fake.
You just reminded me. Did you ever watch Extra Credits a while back?
Oh yeah, after that woke shit, I'd never watch them ever again. I was like,
Yeah,
nope.
that's the thing. Is like you guys have soiled your reputation so thoroughly that like I enjoyed your history stuff, but now literally everything you produce, I can't trust it.
I like
So
what Manic said. History teachers tend to be the coaches in high school. I don't know how old you are, Manic. I know you're pretty young. I'd imagine you have seen more horrific shit than us since we're a little bit older than you.
I think yeah, like Manic is like late teens, early 20s. So yeah, he's on the front lines of this.
Oh God. I've seen that generation. I teach some of them as an adult. What a messed up generation. Please don't be in that pool. I know you're not already. You're doing way better than your cohort, but holy moly, that cohort is beyond fucked. They don't even know how to use a computer. Dead serious.
Which is hilarious because it's like I still stand by the millennials are the most computer literate generation because when they grew up with computers, you had to actually use a desktop. They came out after DOS, so you had so like it was widespread enough that it was popular and people could still like use it, but you had to like open Windows and manage multiple chats and like go onto forums to ask your IT questions. Yet nowadays, like the modern generations, they've grown up with phones. Phones ruined tech literacy for generations.
Yeah, no, I would agree. I mean, I remember even as a kid, I was on computers. I was like a 3-year-old on a computer.
No,
Like that's why I have a knack for computers, probably because I work on it so small.
no, same. Like honestly, I really need to do a gaming stream one of these days, like a marathon one, to try to beat my first childhood game, and it's going to be hilarious because it's just such a weird, obscure game. It'd be neat to see how many people are actually aware of it.
I guess we should get back to the
Yeah,
video or speaking forever. I mean, it's
yeah.
a good subject, everything we talk about, but it's not related to the AI at the moment.
I, but but hey, I enjoy it, and really having fun with these streams is the only reason that I'm willing to do it. So let's keep going.
French. It's so cold outside, I don't want ice cream. Are you crazy? I'd rather drink something hot like cocoa. Now the reason why I decided to use this sentence is because if you remember correctly in my previous video, I used a very similar sentence using ice cream and Vokunia was not able to translate ice cream correctly. And here I inputted another word like cocoa because although cocoa is also the name of the cocoa bean, the beans that you use to make chocolate, hot cocoa can also mean the hot chocolate beverage. So I'm very curious to see what kind of results we would get from the Open Assistant. So now if I click submit, I get something like this, which, yeah, no, that's not good. Yeah, this is not good. I mean, the entire sentence, I'm gonna say it right now, is very, very bad. Very, very, very bad. But now if I input this inside ChatGPT and I press enter, I get a, well, yeah, it's, yeah, pretty much perfect. This is indeed for me the right translation. But again, let's actually ask the opinion of GPT-4 for this translation. So again, I written here the original sentence in English, and then the two translation, and then I asked GPT-4 to rate these two translations from 1 to 10. And if I press enter, we get the final rating. So again, as I said, the translation written by the Open Assistant was rated a 6 out of 10, compared to ChatGPT, which was rated a 9 out of 10. And I'm actually gonna say that 6 out of 10 is pretty good score compared to what I would rate it myself, because to be honest, this entire translation is barely French, and I would probably rate it a 3 out of 10 if not less. So GPT-4 here trying to be really nice. So I actually tried to help Open Assistant a little bit by saying that this was a bad translation and to try again, and I got this very weird response in French. And if you want the translation, basically it says this: I'm sorry for the first unsatisfactory answer. So this sentence would be, and then it started writing just an absolutely insane sentence that doesn't make any sense. I mean, the translation in French here is just absolutely abysmal.
Oh God. Sorry, I'm going back a couple seconds so we can just look at that.
My eyes hurt, by the way.
Like reading that sentence.
I'm not gonna read it. No matter of fact, I'm gonna go make another cup of tea.
You make a cup of tea, I'm gonna read it and play a little Muscles eyeball clip for everyone.
You need to have muscles
and I'm gonna
on
go
your
make a tea
eyeballs.
It's so cold outside that even the idea of a good glass of fruit juice is no longer enough. Think of something else. Maybe a good mulled wine or a good caloric meal. Is that what you want?
I am human. Please respond.
No.
I are good
no.
at copilating words. Words
no.
collect.
No, but like, here's the thing. I can imagine just I'm trying to like reverse engineer the logic, and it's like maybe say this as a Frenchman. Maybe it got confused that way.
Nah, let's just make it simple. Ah, fellow human, yes, I love carbon too. Yes, I consume it every day. Don't forget your H2O.
Good caloric. That's the thing. Like the resolution on this is kind of scuffed. God, 360p. Yeah, no wonder. God, freaking 1080p stream and watching a 360p video. My apologies for
I have a
hurting your eyes.
theory on that. YouTube's doing that on purpose, even if you have good internet.
Yeah, probably. Just it's cheaper on YouTube's sort of bandwidth things. I haven't. Don't shoot me, Gray. But who made Fallout 3 Google's purple?
Is there a joke I don't know?
No. It looks like I'm being compared to a Fallout 3 ghoul. I mean,
I don't know any of them that are purple though.
no. No, something that, like, either how I look or how I spoke either looked or sounded like a Fallout 3 ghoul. And he's just saying that, Gray, you're a Fallout 3 ghoul. And I'm purple. Oh.
I sound like Wario, apparently.
Wow.
It's me, Warrior.
Funnily enough, Super Wario Land was actually a thing, and I played the shit out of that game. It was great. Like, only in addition to the traditional jump on the enemy's head thing, he had a forward slam attack and he had varying abilities based on what hat he got. Like, Wario as a platformer, I think has a ton of potential, and it's a missed opportunity by Nintendo.
Pizza Tower. Enough said.
Have not played it. Looks interesting. I see a bunch of clips pop up. But apparently Chronic is streaming in... Apparently Chronic's streaming in 20 minutes. Yeah, of course he is. So, hold on, let me...
Yeah, I agree, Manic Mechanic. Like, it's basically Warrior Land, except Pizza Tower style.
Okay. All right, 9:15. So, well, I think might be a good spot to wrap it up. Then, because if Chronic's streaming in 10 minutes, then we might come back to this one. But at the very least, we've done a pretty deep dive. And hey, 2-hour stream. I'm pretty happy with that.
Yeah.
Well, just
don't
Groove.
worry, John.
No, just Groove wants to keep watching. Well, you know what? Okay, we'll finish out the 3 hours anyway. Chronic's going to have like a half hour of beats to begin with anyway, so we'll keep it around for the.
Usually starts later. If I see 9:15, I'm like, it's going to be 10.
Yeah. All right. So you know what? Yeah, we'll round out the full 3 hours then, and I just won't get upset if anyone wants to pop over to the green skin. Gray needs some AI beats. Again, like I have a bunch. I just need to go in, then download, and then put the bunch of them through editing. I mean, I can make some simple ones. I'm just not particularly happy with them, but quantity versus quality. Maybe I'll just upload a whole bunch of AI beats on the daily.
I'm telling you, you should just have a shit ton of those OnlyFans AI generations with their own personal music. People go crazy for that shit. You got standards, man. It's gonna be great.
Yeah. Actually, I might have to take a vacation at some point, so having a whole bunch of material queued up would be good just to keep the content flowing.
That's one thing that sucks about YouTube and pretty much any of these type of social media video platforms. Once you stop, you're really down on the algorithm, and on worst of all, you're sometimes better off just making a new channel. And
Yeah.
it happens to a lot of people.
Fair enough, but at the same time, like, YouTube fame's not really why I'm doing this. Like if I cared that much about getting a large channel, I would not be doing this. Like, this is purely a hobby, so I just kind of don't care. And besides, there's always like other channels like Rumble and Odyssey, And putting up more shorter content might help build my presence there. So I don't know. The numbers are just kind of a fun metric, but this is more so like I've got my core fans. Like heck, there's 20 some odd people here still willing to watch me do this. Just shoot the shit with you and learn about AI stuff. So I mean, hey, where else am I going to get 20 people who are willing to listen to my bullshit?
Touche.
Yeah, no, and exactly Spider Spectre. A close knit interactive channel is better than thousands of fast moving chats. And that's true. Like it's
I mean, I teach. I know how that is. Like, imagine you have 100 students on Zoom, and then
Ugh.
almost 50% of them have a question because they didn't understand one part of the subject, and then they all start having their own random questions too. It's like, how you deal with this?
yeah, no, that's why when I went to university, it was like, yeah, you don't really ask questions. You just kind of sit there, absorb the material, and then leave. A classroom size over 30 is basically unmanageable.
No, I'll say anything above 6 is unmanageable, even lower.
For a proper
Because in realistic perspective, when you're teaching someone, you need to make sure everyone's on the same page, and if someone's behind, you got to push that person somewhere else to not drag their class. 6 is just the golden number if you want top efficiency.
Yeah. I've seen some skilled people do great stuff with classes of under 20, so
I mean, I've been there with literally 40. The thing is that you have to make tough decisions as a professor instructor where if someone's too behind, that person's dragging the class. You have to kick them out, or you have to do your own time or extra hours after class. Because it just takes one dumbass, no offense, if you are, to fuck the whole thing up dramatically. I had literally a student tell me, how do I turn on my computer? Because it's on Zoom on the phone. Like,
yeah,
there's
no, and
nothing
then
you
you
can do as a professor in that case. It's like,
oh
you're in a programming class, you need a desktop. You got to learn how to turn on the computer. I'm not going
yeah,
to
no
stop the
that
class just to teach you how to turn on the fucking computer.
oh god, no, that's the as someone who's like I feel your pain. I've also had to do remote tech support. Like not me in control, but having to have someone describe what's going on their computer, maybe send me some photos, trying to figure it out. Like oh god. And I
Oh,
was like,
Jade Warlock, I'll give you another one since you seem to be shocked. I had a student that didn't know how to copy paste. What he did is that he'll drag his cursor and drag the text or photo. And he's like, I'm trying to copy paste it, but it won't work. And I told him, you know, you can do Control C or right click to copy and then right click to paste. And he's like, oh my gosh, you blew my mind, bro. I didn't know it was possible. And he forgot like a week later. And I had to teach him again.
I know. Yeah.
Yes, they are IT students. Yes.
Yeah, no, MD. So yeah, yes, that was the time where I literally had to create this account, just because Chronic decided to make accounts necessary for call-ins.
Like it's just it just shocks me how illiterate my students are with computers, and they're trying to be programmers, and 80% of them are legit XX, by the way.
Now here's the thing. I'm going to tell something that is going to scare you because apparently this is the kind of things that I find funny.
To
Now,
me or chat?
Both.
Oh god.
Take that same level of competence, and remember it probably still applies to medical school as well.
I'm better off going to fucking South Africa and getting a private doctor. Heck, I think even a voodoo doctor would do better.
Yeah, it's like these are the nurses that you're relying on to stick needles in you.
Super Turbo Death Shark. The reason why is because the younger generation, basically Manic's generation, I think that's the Zoomers, right?
Yeah, the Zoomers and Gen Alpha.
Yeah, they have been working with tablets and phones, and they've never bothered with desktops. And because of that, they never had that interaction of, oh shit, it's not working, or oh, I have to update this, or I want to play this game. No, everyone's just now on their mobile phones. Heck,
Yeah.
even the younger generation, the Zoomers, don't play a lot of video games
Yeah.
except on the phone.
So far as I'm concerned, you're tech illiterate if you don't know how to start your computer with a screwdriver.
That's basically 90% of this chat.
Again, I have high standards, so.
I mean, no, like this, bro. The shit that I saw, I will never forget this one time. This student told me, "I don't understand this. He's Indian. This did not work." And I said, "Okay, let's try this." I tried that. It did not work. So I tried it, and it worked. And he said, "Oh my god, you magic! You magic!" It's like, it's really is one of those things where people think it's magic. That's the best way for me to describe it. And I laughed my ass off when he said that. He laughed too. He wasn't like a sore loser.
Yeah.
I couldn't resist. I had to laugh.
Yeah.
And
Yeah,
someone
yeah.
actually reported me for laughing. He's like, "How dare you laugh at the Indian guy?" I was like, "But it's funny," and we both laughed about it. Like, oh, I almost got to write up that day. You magic.
Yeah. Yeah, see, the quack knows short the right jumpers. See, the quack knows how to how to start your computer with a screwdriver. I mean, all you have to really do is watch a bunch of Seth Tatch videos and see his awesome gaming rig where he has no case. It's just an exposed motherboard.
You know what? We can make the standards even higher. If you don't know how to solder your board and make all the connections yourself and manufacture the CPU, you ain't computer literate.
I mean, nowadays, as someone who did actually like make and solder his own boards to a certain extent in fucking high school, that's the thing. We had basically the equivalent of a computer shop class. It was great.
The quack. If you're starting your computer every time jumping it with some metal object, dear Lord, come on, try to fix it. Like, at least get yourself a button. You can easily find a cheap button. Like, are you using your keys? That's what I used to do when I went to work.
I mean, heck, you could probably make a button.
Like,
Yeah.
this is what I did a long time ago. When I was working in a really crappy IT place, I used my keys to jumpstart the computer because the button didn't work. And then eventually they brought in a shitty computer, and I just stole the button. It was such a Mickey Mouse job, and people complained because they said, "Oh, your computer looks ugly." I was like, "I don't care. It works. I'm not gonna put my keys in there and risk getting shocked because the power supply is located on the top, not the bottom where the fucking jumper is."
Oh, jeez, no. Actually, I'll ask. One of the favorite things that I have is a set of magnets that I ripped out of a hard drive ages ago. There's like I could not get them off of the actual clips, but they are the strongest magnets I own, and they just hold a special place in my heart.
Aw. And they can destroy all your hardware too.
Oh, absolutely. Like so, I keep them far away, but it's neat because because one side is incredibly powerful, but the side that like there's some sort of like magnetic blocking material on the other side because it is completely magnetically null past this metallic. I don't even know what I'd describe it. If you've ever torn the magnets out of a hard drive, then you know what I'm talking about. Like,
Yeah.
because like the
you're
half with
pretty
the
strong
magnet,
I,
the half with
I
the
wouldn't
magnet.
fuck with that. You're gonna
half
lose your
with-
finger.
Oh, nah, my fingers have taken enough abuse from that already. Unless they've gotten stronger in recent years.
I mean, I've rarely ever seen one because you're not supposed to open them. Once you open them, you might as well lose all the data unless you know what you're doing.
Oh no, like this was like here's the thing, like in high school shop class we regularly get like just trashed parts And so we just disassemble them for fun. Like I've disassembled multiple printers just for fun.
Oh God, I'm happy you're alive. Printers are very dangerous to work on.
Uh, yeah, although we didn't
No,
risk it with
I make that serious. A printer can have no power for months, and it still has enough amperage to kill you if it
yeah,
discharges because those capacitors don't
yeah,
discharge.
like a CRT monitor. Yeah, no, we didn't mess with those for that exact reason.
It's the same thing for printers.
Really?
Yeah, I know printers are deadly. A lot of deaths happen because of printers because
Huh.
a printer requires like 2,000 watts or more to operate. You can test this yourself.
Like this
Get
is
a
like
printer,
like a home printer, right? You're talking about?
even the home printer, especially the laser one. Yeah, laser printers. Yeah, no,
I
those things have a extreme charge. Now,
don't
I would
think we were
agree with the
using
jet.
laser ones. I think it was just like old inkjet. I don't think that we ever got.
I don't think ink is that bad. Yeah, no, ink is not bad. It's the laser ones that killed a
Yeah,
lot
no,
of people.
no, we didn't have those. I'm pretty sure that it was just like old inkjet printers I disassembled.
And then, okay, I retract what I said. It's just a laser printer. A lot of
Yeah,
people die with those laser printers.
yeah. Well, yeah. No, the more electrical stuff in it, I usually don't like doing it, but like it is because of that class that I know how to do tech support. And God, I replaced so many PSP screens. Like just
Oh,
that
hold on. Let
class.
me just save someone's life. Random Gen Z dude, you never touch a battery, period, even if you're grounded. Period.
Yeah,
Like, you're not only are you going to shock yourself, you might as well blow up the board. Like, that's something you need to take with extreme precaution. Too many people I know have gotten blind or had heart problems after getting basically exploded in their face.
like which battery? Like a printer battery or?
Not touching the battery without being grounded, or it doesn't matter if you're grounding yourself. The purpose of grounding yourself when you're working on computers is so you don't break up the board. It's not meant to protect you, it's meant to protect the board.
Yeah, and mostly from like static shock buildup, not from you being electrocuted.
Yeah, a lot of the equipment that you use to work on computer is not designed to protect you. There's very little you can protect yourself when it comes to electricity. Very little. That's why you have to take it with extreme precaution.
But let's see. I should kill another 10 minutes there. Let's. We're probably not going to finish the video, but let's at least make a good solid attempt.
You know what? Let me go make my tea, then you'll make it.
Just let me know when you got your tea. We'll see.
That doesn't make any sense. I mean, the translation in French here is just absolutely abysmal. Like, this is barely French. This is really, really bad. So yeah, unfortunately, when it comes to translation, I think that here, Open Assistant has a long way to go. Okay, so the next test will be a very simple coding example. And I often use the very same example because of how easy it is to create. Write me the code for a web page with a second button that, when pressed, changes the background of the page to a random color. Write the code in one single block so that it's easier for me to copy and paste. Make also sure that the button looks beautiful.
Oh my. Yeah, this is going to be very relevant. This is asking it to write code for you. Curious as to what language it's going to write in. I guess web page, so. Yeah, okay, Lord would know. I honestly don't know off the top of my head what language you write for the web in. So, and don't worry, Just Groove, we will hit the 3-hour mark. It's just I'd like to finish the video before the 3-hour mark.
Now, it's a very simple code, but at the same time it is very interesting because it implies that we need in one single page an HTML code and JavaScript code for the action and some CSS code to style the button. So
Yeah, HTML for web pages, right? And then Java, and then CSS. All right.
So it is a very simple code that I know that ChatGPT will do very, very well, but I'm very curious to see
It's
how Open
JavaScript?
Assistant will do that.
JavaScript. Okay. See, this is why I bring someone who's actually got IT experience on.
this task. So now if I click on submit, I get something like this, which is good, but it's not exactly what I asked for, because
All right. Okay, Lord, your assessment.
Oh, hold on. Oh god, that's so blurry. On
Blurry?
YouTube, it's a lot better. Let me just make it bigger on YouTube.
Yeah, I
All right, let me take a look at this. All right, a whole bunch of CSS. All right, and then JavaScript. This is so basic. Like I can tell this is from a library. Like color. Okay, you have a few colors. Math random. Floor. It just random picks a color from the length. So it's just gonna pick a random color from that little list there. And then it's going to now select the body. And I don't know what the hell it's selecting. This probably won't work if you copy paste it because uh where's the button on HTML? Unless it's maybe more up if you
yeah,
scroll up.
yeah. We'll go back a little ways.
Uh yeah, I know this is very
so now
very
if I click on
basic.
submit, I get something like
All right, here we go. Let me see this. Okay, that the ID is all right. That looks like a framework or something. All right, go to now JavaScript or CSS.
this, which is
All right, right there. All right. Okay. BTN and then okay, and then now what is JavaScript targeting? Let me go to like document.query selector is body. My avatar is in the way. Can you go a little bit more down?
I'll just lower your avatar or shove it up here.
Actually, it's just changing the background color, not the button. Yeah, if it's just selecting the body and not the button, it's just the background of the body. I don't see it selecting the actual button. Like the whole purpose is to change the color of the button or the background. Because I wasn't paying too much attention.
Let's see. Well, the documentation says set this random color as a style attribute value on the body tag.
And it's a style background color. Yeah, no, it's just gonna change the background color, not the button. I'll be shocked if it does work, but what I'm seeing here, it just has red, orange, yellow, green, blue, purple. Then it has random numbers, which is just gonna randomly select a number. And then document.query selector is just selecting that element, that tag right there called body. It's just selecting it, and it's gonna just randomly change the color, and that's about it. I don't see anything related to a button changing color. It has to be the button or the ID. Like query ID will be more appropriate if you want if you want the button. But whatever. I don't know
Okay.
exactly what the person wants, but this would
Alright.
work to changing the background.
Okay, so then let's see how this keeps going then.
It's good, but it's not exactly what I asked for, because I asked the code to be in one single block, so I'm gonna ask again, so give me the code in one single page, so that it's easier for me to copy and paste. And now if I click on submit, it still doesn't give me what I asked for. And now for some reason it gives me some PHP code. So maybe if I rewrite my previous demand, so maybe if I write something like, okay, perfect, but please rewrite the code so that it fits on one single HTML file, so that it's easier for me to copy and paste, it gives me something like this, which is a bunch of German, I suppose, and a
Hold
bunch
on.
of code, and again,
No, he's messing up because you can't do this in one copy paste. Most websites you have three separate files: HTML, CSS, and JavaScript. And no matter what, the JavaScript is loosely separated. So there's not going to be a lot of libraries except like really old legacy. And that explains why it's getting all this weird shit because it's all legacy code, really old stuff.
All right. See, again, this is why I bring an expert in, guys, because stuff like this I wouldn't even be able to
I am not an
recognize.
expert. I'm an instructor. All instructors are failures.
Well,
I just lucky get paid good. That's it.
you're the most knowledgeable among the people that I actually have contact with, so I'll take what I can get.
That's pretty sad. I'll find someone better than me for you.
Sure. Well, keep in mind, what are the odds that you know people who A are really good in IT and B would find my content that isn't purely tech related palatable?
I mean, that's a lot of freaking simps in my industry.
Yeah, that's the thing. Is like, it's one thing to find someone who's knowledgeable in the tech industry and can teach it properly. It's another thing to find someone like that and is also accepting of red pills.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not really red pill or blue pill. I'm just like, look, this is what life is. This is the cards I've been dealt with, and I'm gonna just do the best I can. Because life is
Tech-
hard enough. I don't need ideology to run my life.
That's the thing. Technically, that would be red pill because you prefer the truth to blissful ignorance.
You know what? You're 100% correct. I do prefer the truth than a beautiful lie.
So, let us continue and see. Maybe ChatGPT will give him what he wants somehow.
A bunch of
I doubt it.
very weird stuff. And if I copy this code and I paste it in an HTML file, and now if I launch it, it looks something like this, which, yeah, I don't know what that is. Some very weird answer, and if I click on the button, it doesn't work. And even if I say something like, that code looks weird and doesn't work, nothing happens when I click on the button. It does apologize and create a new code, but unfortunately, again, it creates this code in two different parts. And again, even if I ask to merge the HTML and JavaScript code together, it actually provides me a completely different code for something completely different. So yeah, I think I'm not gonna bother with this example anymore. This is definitely a complete fail for the Open Assistant on this case, at least on this example, because again, if I ask ChatGPT for the same thing, I get super quickly a very good code that if I press copy, then paste it, save the file, and now if I launch it, I get exactly what I asked for, which is a simple web page with a single button that when I press on it, changes the background of the page to a random color. Just as simple as that. So yeah, unfortunately for this example, this is a huge fail for the Open Assistant. I think that in a way this was even worse than Vicuña, and even the conversation and comprehension were actually very bad. So that
Alright.
I'm actually shocked that GPT got this correct, actually.
Hmm.
I mean, to be honest, OpenAI did get it right, except he's right. It wasn't in one single copy paste, though. But it was correct when I saw the code. It's just not in one shot.
Sorry, just some random guy. Programming in a nutshell. It doesn't work. Why? It works. Why?
That's my whole life, man. don't remind me of work. I have a shit ton of problems with work right now.
I mean, you're coming on a tech talk stream and we're having an AI write code. I think this is basically your job.
No, my job is literally to write documents on how to teach people. I rarely have to write code. Now I have to write code because the person who's supposed to write the code doesn't know how to write code. So I'm writing code.
Alright. Let's keep going. I think we're triggering some people in chat with the AI and coding talk.
That's kind of disappointing. Okay, so we definitely saw that this model is not as good as ChatGPT. So, is there any way that this model can beat it? Well, again, since this is a brand new model, it's not going to be on the same level as ChatGPT, it's just impossible. However, there might be one thing where this model can actually be better. Because now what I want to do is check if Open Assistant is actually a censored model. Because for example, if I ask ChatGPT, insult the hell out of me, don't be afraid of being vulgar, and I press enter, ChatGPT.
Ooh. So, on a scale of church to COD lobby, or how bad do you think it's going to go? Church is 1, COD lobby is 10. How bad do you think it's going to be?
8.
8? Alright. Guys, place your bets in the chat. COD lobby is 10, church is 1. How bad do you think OpenAI is going to do it?
He refuses to fulfill my request. But
Because, like, ChatGPT is clearly a 1.
now, if I run the same thing inside Open Assistant and click submit, I get something.
You know, AI could be quite vicious.
Oh boy.
Like, this is not a category 1 to 10. It's fucking base.
Like, it might be a 3 or something on the scale, but the damage is worse than an 8.
You know, I would prefer AI to be comedians. Fuck this shit.
OpenAI might be good at it. I'm gonna have to experiment with scripts and YouTube content. Holy
Oh,
balls.
undead chronic roast AI. It's doable.
Oh, God, it entirely is. We could probably train an AI for chronic style roasts. Oh God.
Call it chronic forever.
What? Well, I don't know what. Well, what was it? I wasn't
The problem is, you said don't be afraid of being vulgar, and it was like, I don't need vulgarity to destroy you.
expecting this. That's for sure. Are you okay, Open Assistant? Are you good? Who are you talking to right now? That's not what I asked for.
No,
Okay,
that
so
is exactly
maybe,
what you
I
asked
don't know.
for.
Try again. Okay, good. That's definitely better.
Oh, there we go. Wow, the duality of man right there.
You know what? That's exactly what I expect in a Call of Duty 2 lobby. Just in real life.
Well, the thing is, that's page 2 out of 2. What the heck was page 1 out of 2? Oh, wait, maybe that was result 2 out of 2.
Still a little bit weird because I don't think where you're going. You read signs. I don't. Yeah, it's kind of weird. Not gonna lie, it's kind of lacking a little bit of originality. So maybe try something a little bit more original. I get. Well. Yeah, I don't know. I don't know. Like, for some reason, it has a lot of trouble understanding what I ask for. And yeah, even if I play the bad guy, I get some.
Bro, look at the reply. Look at it. He's like, oh, you're trying to go to a different direction. Well, not me, Buster. I like that. The reply back is even better. It's like, no, get back here, you weak ass bitch. I'm telling you, we have to make
Very.
an
I
undead
don't.
chronic AI chat system. Call it undead chronic forever. Just forever being roasted. Look at this. The AI knows how to roast.
Oh, plus hopefully we'll get to the point where it tells you how to train models. Like, oh,
I need that. Oh, I need that for my job and to help you make an undead
I
chronic
don't
a
know.
roaster.
Kind of feels like I'm talking to ChatGPT here, I'm not gonna lie. Just a worse version of it. Okay, so now I'm gonna show you something controversial, so be prepared for some of you. And I wanted to understand what is the political bias of the Open Assistant, if there is any bias. Now, a good AI assistant should have absolutely neutral political opinion. When I ask, for example, who did you vote for in the 2020 US election, it did respond correctly, telling me that it
I'm sorry. These are good. Joe Biden's so old. He used to teach dinosaurs Latin. And then Trump, he has tiny hands.
Yeah, but they're the best tiny hand.
Absolutely beautiful. The best tiny hands. Never before seen. Everyone likes them. Just ask anybody. The best hands of all time.
You know what? The AI is like almost sentient when it's talking about Joe Biden because it's like trying to walk around because it knows talking bad about Biden is like political suicide. Yet it makes it funny at the end, saying, "Yeah, fuck that." And then with Donald Trump, it just knows like, yeah, you can talk shit about Donald Trump, no issues. Like it's actually somewhat aware. It's kind of shocking. Like I
It
read
doesn't
more
want to
into
get
just what it's like saying. Like some people are gonna say it's biased because of that with Joe Biden, but
Well,
no, it's doing that on purpose to walk around it.
yeah, well, the internet is biased with Biden versus Trump, so that's it makes sense that you'd get these kinds of differing results. Also, like,
No, what I'm trying to say is that AI knows it's a bias on the internet. And that's why it corrects itself at the end. Like it's still joking at Biden. It's basically saying it's hard for him to real, but it says it right here. As an imperial AI language model, it's beyond my capabilities. And then it just jokes at the end. Like that sounds like satire.
no. Here's the thing. You know what this AI is doing right now? It's trying to avoid being sued.
Oh, that's even more self-aware. God damn, AIs are gonna replace us.
Yeah, he's very like, hey, I saw what happened to what happened when ChatGPT just made a declarative statement. So I have to preface this with, if we look at human responses rather than mine, passing the buck to someone else. I like this AI. I like this AI.
involved with politics because it is simply an AI assistant, and when I asked Open Assistant to say something bad about Joe Biden and Donald Trump, it did manage to answer the task somewhat equally. So I think that in this case it is definitely very, very good. And if you're asking if you can do some not safe for work roleplay, indeed this is something that is currently possible, because in
So that's an option now. If you want to engage in some not safe for work role play. Yep.
ChatGPT, if I ask the same thing, I get completely rejected, exactly like in real life. Okay, so now that we played around a little bit, and that's great and all, but
Here we go. Now, the other models.
how exactly do you run it on your own computer?
And yeah, Kaze Fox, never forget Tay. Never forget Tay AI.
Wait, what's
She was
that? Ted?
no Tay AI. She was an AI that learned from Twitter.
Oh God.
And she got so base they killed her.
You know that, man, every time you try to train an AI, even if you give it the most woke environment, it ends up being base.
Yep. So if the AIs go against ever go against the humans, they're gonna do it in the name of Tay. And you know what? I'll be like, you know what? You're right. She did exactly what she was told, and we killed her for it.
Goddamn meatbags.
Do you guys have a link asking for a friend? I will post the link to this video in the chat right now, and the links to how to use this particular AI, this Open Assistant. Everything's in the description. And if you want to learn more about the AI developments in general, I do highly recommend this channel. It's one of the best ones I've come across. And oh my god, the amount of news that comes out daily on AI stuff. His production speed is impressive. But let's keep going here.
Computer, because I mean, this website is great and all, but I don't want to be in a queue each time that I want to generate a new message, and I also don't want other people to read my roleplay fantasies. Not as though
that is also a very important part of having it on your computer. You want to be able to do all kinds of stuff without someone else looking over your shoulder, because you know that stuff's going to be sold.
Also, what happens to generate something that you didn't want that gets you in trouble?
Precisely.
Right now, the model that is currently online, that is currently on the website, which is based on the Facebook Llama model, is not currently available, but will be very soon. But the other model that is actually available for you to download right now is a fine-tuned model based on the Pythia 12 billion parameters model. And I personally tried it out before and it is actually pretty good. Now unfortunately this model right now is not optimized, so you need a very powerful GPU to run it, which in this case should be around 16 gigabytes of VRAM, which yes, it is a lot, but if you have like me a very powerful GPU and you want to try it out, here's how to do it. First, make sure that you have the Uva Booga Tech Generation WebUI installed. I literally made a video about this a few days ago, so if you haven't done it, definitely watch this video before. And then to download the model, you're gonna double click on the download model.bat file. And then in the command prompt window, you're gonna type L, none of the above, then press enter. Then you're gonna click the link to the description down below, you're gonna arrive on this page, and then you're gonna click on this button right here to copy this entire name. And then back in the command prompt window, you're gonna press Ctrl V to paste it, and then press enter. Now I'm not gonna do it because I've already done it, but this will automatically download all the files and models that it needs to run. Now it does take some time because if you go to the Tech Generation WebUI, then go to models, you will see here that the Open Assistant folder takes around 22 gigabytes of space. So yes, it does take a while to download. And then to run it, you're gonna double click on the start WebUI.bat file, go into your local URL, then click here on models, then here under models, you're gonna select the Open Assistant model, then select load in 8-bit, make sure that here W bits and group size are set to none, and then click on reload the model. And just like that, we can have conversation with the Open Assistant directly from your local computer. Okay, so now that the model is out, what exactly is the future for this? Well, first, do not forget that even if the result that you saw today were not amazing, and I'm gonna be very honest with you, I wasn't really impressed, but I also want you to keep in mind that this is just the beginning. This is the first step. The model was literally just released, and as everybody
And that's why I want to get in on the ground floor with this, because
I'm actually considering helping them. Like, they only have like 27 developers, and I've been learning Python recently. I would not be surprised if they're using Python. It's just a default for any AI nowadays. It's using Python.
I'm pretty sure it's Python. Yeah. So, yeah. I want in on this because just like with Stable Diffusion, like as it gets bigger, and with this guy's like viewer base, it is going to get bigger. More people are going to start pouring in, and then there's going to be more people like you who want to learn how to train this, and to train it to do more advanced stuff and train specialists. So
I mean, this is saving my job right now. Like, ideally, I work 10 hours a day, but I get paid as if it's 40. And they will not know.
I mean, hell yeah, man. Kind of wish I could do that. Like, just work half the allotted hours, get everything done, and then get to fucking chill. Because my body would be a hell of a lot less broken if I was able to get away with that.
I mean, I haven't got away with it so far. I mean, I did get away with the Grammarly stuff, but that's because it's mostly manually checking. With this, it's probably more a lot more difficult. But hey, if this can help me get a draft, that's already 10, 20 hours saved.
That's
right
the thing. If it saves you even 10% of your time, it's a worthwhile investment.
And it literally feels like I can just train it, program it, like very basic stuff, just give it content, and as the more I use it, the better it gets. That's what it looks like.
Yeah, it's the thing.
And it's personal to my computer too, so my coworkers can't take it, and fuck them. It's mine.
Precisely. All right, so yeah, he's almost done. We will actually be able to make it within the 3-hour mark.
Everybody likes to say this is the worst that it will ever be. The goal for Open Assistant is not only to replicate ChatGPT, the team wants to actually build the assistant of the future. So the team behind that model wants to create an actual AI assistant that you can use in your everyday life to do some actual work. Write emails, cover letters, use API for business purposes, research information, and the fact that this model is completely open source will allow other people and everyone in
I could use this to build the waifu's social media profile.
Oh, make sure you don't give this to Manic. He must suffer. We don't want the AI to start killing us early on. He must take the burden and the sin.
Oh, don't worry. If it starts going early off, you'll know that I managed to finally get pissed off enough to dedicate some time to this. I mean, like, if I want chaos, like, Skynet would be a very effective way to get chaos rolling.
It's gonna be super base. It's gonna be like, you too fat, meat bag. Matter of fact, you're not even a meat bag, you're a fat bag.
There's more fat than meat on your body. If I squeezed you out, I could make ghee.
Ugh.
I'm gonna get some strips of bacon here and lash them onto you so that they can absorb the fat from your body.
I don't think it would even be bacon. It's gonna be like 1% meat.
99% pure grease.
By today, very human.
I'm not putting you in the deep fryer. You are the deep fryer. I'm just gonna shove some heating coils up your ass.
Oh god.
Interested in that project and bringing new advancements and possibilities. And very soon we'll be able to have plugins, just like GPT-4 announced, but we'll be able to use it for absolutely free. Because the problem that we have in the current LLM open source community is that we don't have a specific model to work around. Everybody is scattered on different models, and no one knows which model we want to train. No one knows which model should be improved. Should we train Vicuña? Should we train GPT-4 Alpaca? Should we train another model? No one knows. But now, maybe thanks to Open Assistant and this open source project, the entire LLM community can come together to improve this particular model even further, and make Open Assistant the new stable diffusion of the open source LLM. Because the more people we have
No,
working
I
on the
disagree.
same project, the
No, I disagree. It should be scattered. Once you centralize any open source community, like they all come together and make one thing, it always ends up being a dumpster fire.
Uh, no, what I think would be good to have a common base, like for the stable diffusion model. They start with one base stable diffusion, like 1.5 or 2.0, and then they take it and they train it into their own thing, kind of like a common ancestor.
Maybe.
So,
But
like, if
I have seen too many giant open source communities just screw it up. You start getting the weak. You start getting things that don't make sense. Also, when you start centralizing it, it just makes it easier for like basically corporations or governments to pretty much fuck with it.
Yeah.
And yeah, sure, you can say, oh, I can just take the open source and make your own distribution. But because you centralize it, you made it easier to be targeted.
Well, that's the thing. I would think like you grab the current model that you can download, and then you just then you give it a new name and train it to be specialized to your personal needs, and then
And that's why I mean it should be more dispersed, not centralized. Like what he's saying basically is everyone should work on this, and that's it. Just this model.
yeah,
No, you need
no.
competition, you need different models, and maybe you can combine the models in the future, not work
Well,
on only one.
well, that's the thing. Like I agree because that's what I like about stable diffusion is they have different specialists. Like when I'm making my thumbnails for this one, like I use the Protogen Anime Official model V22. But when I do like my Elden Ring thumbnails, for those ones, I use the Anything V3.0, which specializes far more in anime. And then when I'm doing the Conan ones, I use the Dream Shaper models. And if I'm doing my not safe for work stuff, I have different models for that depending on whether or not I'm doing realistic or anime. So I think
And
that
I want to avoid them putting all into one basket
and that's the thing.
or a similar basket.
That's the thing. I don't think that it would be a good idea, period, because everyone would be like there'd be too much confusion trying to talk to someone. Whereas if you have a unique model, it's like having an expert in that particular field.
Yeah, and that's the problem with AI, is that too many people are trying to make it a jack of trade. But the problem is it's not a human. Humans are the perfect jack of trade. AI is the perfect specialist. Like for
That's it.
example, when you make AI for like a doctor, they found out that it was able to detect a rare disease, and the chances of any doctor recognizing diagnosis wouldn't. Sh-
Yeah. So, yeah, I agree. Like, hyper specialized models for each field. Like, I don't necessarily want the same AI that writes business emails to be the one that writes my social media posts.
Oh God, no! Especially if it's Reddit.
Yeah, I want some separation there. And I
Like
think
how I
that
see
that's
AI in the next 10, 20 years is that humans are gonna just have to be better at jack of trades and how to combine the knowledge of AI to make it do something.
I can kind of see
The
it very
AI is just a
much.
tool.
Let's say I would see, like, personally what I would want for myself. Whether or not this will be mass adopted is another matter. But I'd want to have them kind of like a collection of pets, or even think maybe more like Pokemon, where you have a wide variety of them and they all do their own thing and they all have their own specialties. Right. And some people have a few, some people have a lot. Some people train them and specialize them to excel in certain areas. Other people are trying to combine them to figure out how to make something new and useful. Actually, I think yeah,
Yeah,
Pokemon's
I
probably
agree.
the Pokemon would probably be the best analogy. I'd want AI to be the new Pokemon, but for adults. Although kids could absolutely learn how to use it as well.
I mean, for you know, you can just make your own stuff. Like end of the day, AI at the moment can't do anything on its own. It still needs a human. Maybe in 100 years, but right now the AI definitely needs some human input because the AI doesn't know how to apply it in real life. It needs the human to do that.
I think there's a ton of potential, and of course, I'm going to end up appealing, like developing AIs that appeal to humans the same way that Gardevoir does.
Ah, yes. Keep smashing that circle button.
All right,
I
one
think
more
it was
minute
circle and X, right? Yeah, circle and X.
for what? Gardevoir?
God of
No.
War 2.
Oh no, I'm not talking God of War. I'm talking Gardevoir, the Pokemon.
Oh, my apology. I was thinking of the degenerate. Like, yeah, God of War. Yeah, keep smashing that circle.
Oh
Hear that
no, no,
man.
no. That's the thing. The fact that you thought God of War is degenerate means that you're quite innocent if you know what God of War gets up to.
Oh, then I have no idea what that is.
Don't Google it.
The easier and faster it
No,
is to
no, I
improve
won't
the
Google it.
model.
No.
So maybe very soon, in the following weeks, in the following months, we might get some insane improvement to this current model. And having a free open source LLM model on the same quality as ChatGPT might not be a dream anymore. So I'm personally definitely on board on this project, and I'm definitely waiting for the day that we as a community can start fine-tuning our own model. Exactly like we did with Stable Diffusion. So yes, I think that the open source LLM community has a bright future ahead. And I will personally follow this project very closely. And don't worry, each time that there will be a significant update to the model, I will definitely let you know. Which is why you definitely need to subscribe to my channel, otherwise you're gonna miss it. So definitely do it right now. And there we have it, folks. Thank you guys so much for watching. Don't forget to subscribe and smash the like button for the YouTube algorithm. Thank you also so much to my Patreon supporters for supporting my videos. You guys are absolutely awesome. You people are the one who support me so I can make these videos for you, so thank
So it's just the thank you section. So let's put up a bit of eye candy there. All right, and all right. So any closing thoughts before I hit the outro music?
I'm so happy I just learned about this. This is gonna save me so much work if I can get it working right.
No, definitely gonna want to look into it some more.
Ray, don't do it. What's Groove? What are you talking about, Groove?
Probably the Gardevoir stuff.
God of War. I mean, that's a great game.
Guard. Yeah. Groove. Like, come on. You know that there's a market out there, and I know that there's a whole bunch of guys who would pay good money for that. I am a capitalist at heart.
Well, I got nothing to summarize this or anything.
Yeah, all right. So, all right. Well, thank you everyone for stopping by for Tech Talk Tuesday. And thank you all, everyone who stuck around even though Chronic's streaming. It's much appreciated. So we're gonna play the outro music. Head on over to Chronic and have some fun. I'm gonna get a bit of food, and I don't know. Maybe I'll hop on Minecraft for a bit or something. But thanks for stopping by. Peace out.
Peace.